So we just got to be able to kick that, guys. Y'all, everyone coming up in here. I appreciate you guys for being here. What's up, Mr. G? Wait, Tashika, respond to you on where? What's up, Maddie? What's up, Rosie? What's up, Ray? What's up, Angelina? What's up, Im? Yeah, so let's gonna let our first guest up of the night. Hey, what's going on? Do you think that being non-hetero is wrong or immoral?
Yes, I
Okay,
do.
how old are you?
I'm 18.
You about said 16. Why are you lying about your age?
I'm not.
So what year were you born in?
2006,
2006, 2006. So what month?
January.
Okay, got it. So yeah, why do you think being non-hetero is wrong?
Because eventually, if everybody is non-hetero, then how is the world going to continue? Who's going to reproduce?
Well, it wouldn't, right? But we see that this wouldn't make it wrong. For instance, what would happen to the world if everyone was a philosophy professor?
What do you mean by that?
What would happen to the state of the world if everyone alive was a philosophy professor? We wouldn't have any essential workers working in grocery stores. There'd be no farmers. There'd be no plumbers. There'd be no water workers. Society as we know it would absolutely collapse, not to mention philosophy professors typically don't get that much play. So would you say it is wrong to be a philosophy professor because if everyone were to be one, society would collapse?
No.
Okay, so then you can't say it's wrong to be non-hetero because if everyone were to be non-hetero,
Yeah,
society
but
would collapse.
there wouldn't be anybody at all. If it was everyone was a philosophy professor, there'd still be people on this earth.
Okay,
Eventually,
so
like
your
humanity would
criteria is
die out.
anyone at all. Yeah, do you think that infertility is morally wrong?
No.
If everyone was infertile, would we be able to reproduce?
Okay. Okay, that's fair. Good night then.
Oh, you don't have any other arguments? You're just going to leave now?
I don't know. I just wanted to bring up that point, but you've
Hmm.
answered it, so I'm good.
Okay, well, I appreciate you for coming up. Everyone coming in here, all 800 of y'all, make sure that we're double tapping, guys. Double tap on that fucking phone screen. Tippity tap tap away. What's up, R? Do you think that being non-hetero is wrong or immoral?
Okay, so I just want to say something. I'm 18, born on March 2006, and I wanted to say I don't think it's wrong, but I wanted to say, like, I'm really happy that you're doing what you're doing, and you have a lot of support, so that's what I really wanted to say.
I appreciate you for the love, R. WR in that chat, guys. WR in that chat, everyone. I appreciate you for the love. Everyone coming back in. We did get taken down, y'all. So now we're just hopping right back into the debates. We may need to hit a little bit of a stream restart, all right, in accordance with what Parker told me. Apparently that fixes the following glitch, but we'll just give it a couple minutes here, all right? Because if we could break over 1,000 and we start shooting out, well, then it's no issue, but we may need to do the restart. So where's Tashika? I don't know, but she, feel free to come up if you want. We're going to move on to our next guest here, chat. We're going to move on. Hey, what's going on? Do you think that being non-hetero is wrong?
I don't think it's wrong, but you're doing great at your content, and
I appreciate you for the love. I appreciate you for the love. W guests. I appreciate you guys so much for coming up. Huge W guests, but we are just looking for some debates right now. Also, guys, we really don't have that many people in the guest requests right now. So if you do think being non-hetero is wrong, hop in those guest requests. What's up? Do you think that being non-hetero is wrong?
No, I just wanted to say I love your content, Dean. Keep it up.
I appreciate you guys so much, but we're just looking for debates, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to move on to our next guest. What's up? Do you think that being non-hetero is wrong?
Yes, I do.
Okay, yeah, why so?
First of all, I believe that being non-hetero. So, if I ask you a question, would you like a kid?
Would I like a kid? Yeah.
Yes. Would you?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe not. I'm undetermined. Maybe I don't.
Oh, okay. So for me, for example, what if, right? Let's say, what if, who do you support? Do you like Donald Trump, for example? Like, get a good example. So Donald Trump, let's say his parents were gay, yeah? We wouldn't have Donald Trump. Do you know what I'm
Damn!
saying?
I don't think this is an argument for why being non-hetero is wrong. I don't
Why
think this
not?
is an argument for why being non-hetero is wrong. Nebula, I
It's
appreciate
like
you
an
for tap.
example.
Listen, I just got a question here, though. I just got a question. Do you think that infertility is morally wrong?
Yes, I do.
You think that infertility is morally wrong, so you think that all females over the age of 55 are going to hell since they're all infertile?
Well, no, not help, but they just won't be that attracted by men, because we value women with fertility, you know.
Oh
But
my God. Wait, dude, please. No, if anything, right now, in my current state of life, I would value an infertile woman over a fertile woman because it would completely eliminate the chance of an unwanted pregnancy. Where I'm at
so
right
you're
now,
just horny.
I would completely value an infertile woman over a fertile woman. So that's just
So
that's
you are
just fucking
horny,
bullshit.
sir.
Then also, not to mention, that like a woman's fertility doesn't determine her value, and then you're saying, well, I'm just horny. I'm horny for no babies. Yes, I am
But
horny to not have a unwanted
what if your
pregnancy and have a
baby
kid.
was the one that took you out of retirement? I mean, took you into retirement. Do you get what I'm saying? What if your baby gave you $1 million because he gets rich? Like, I
I have a
would
question.
like
Do you
that.
think it's morally wrong for me to engage in intercourse with an infertile woman?
Um, are you married
Yeah.
with her?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Wait, why? Because it doesn't lead to reproduction.
Yes, but you can have fun though, because
Okay,
as
so
long
then
as
why is it morally wrong for two men to engage in intercourse?
well, no, who said it is?
You did.
No, no, no. Oh, I must have misheard you.
So then what's
I
the
don't
argument
believe
here?
that. My argument is that infertile women should they should so do you know what what's the thing called where you put sperm in and the baby comes in?
Um,
We should
man,
do
I don't know
that,
what you're
yeah.
saying.
So
Are you
basically
talking,
what
you
we
might,
should
are you
do,
talking about IVF?
yes, exactly. We should do IVF on the infertile woman.
An infertile woman can't do IVF. She doesn't have any eggs. She could be implanted with someone else's egg, but
So exactly, we should put eggs in them.
I don't see how this is like would bear any resemblance. So why exactly is being non-hetero wrong? I'm not getting your argument. Is anyone in is y'all in chat?
Yes,
Are you guys
so
also confused?
So no. So let me make it clear, okay? So as you don't understand, so being non-hetero, right? You're basically not continuing your family tree,
Wait, that's
right?
not
And
true.
that's
Non-hetero
obviously
people can reproduce through IVF, right? If they're bi as well, that's
yes, but
non-hetero. They could just
I'm
reproduce via
assuming
vaginal intercourse.
yes, but they are gay though.
So man, first of all, you got to say non-hetero, not the
Oh,
GAY word.
non-hetero. My bad.
Yeah, these
They're
individuals can
non-hetero.
reproduce. They could
Obviously
reproduce
they
through
can,
IVF.
but they
Right. Then also
they're
not to mention that
non-hetero.
like plenty of like non-hetero people like mask this in their earlier years, and some of them end up getting married to women because society tells them that's what they should do, and they end up having children as a non-hetero man. This is
And
just simply
then
not
they've
true.
done
Then
their
not to
part in
mention,
life.
if a non-hetero couple doesn't want to have a child, guess what? They're not going to have a child, right? But this could also be said about a heterosexual couple. If a heterosexual couple does not want to have a child, guess what? They're not going to have a child.
At least they were hetero. Do you get what I'm saying? At least they
Well, then
could.
if you're saying at least they're hetero, well, then we'll see that your argument that non-heterosexuality is specifically wrong for the reason that they can't reproduce is just strictly invalid because it's wrong. They can reproduce, but the same thing about non-reproduction could also be said about a hetero couple. So we just see that you don't have an argument here, and essentially your claim reduces down to man bad, man-woman good. So
No,
it's just
no.
circular logic that's more so telling of your prejudice against non-hetero
Okay,
people. It's
so
very
so
embarrassing.
debunk this claim then. Imagine I'm a hetero and I have a baby boy, right? I have 10 baby boys, and I'm competing against a non-hetero couple against who's going to survive. I have an army of 10 baby boys now, and the non-hetero couple has no army because they're alone. They can't reproduce.
Yeah, they
So
can.
I'm
They're
obviously
IVF.
going to survive.
We've already went
No,
over
but
this.
in
Non-hetero
no, but
individuals
they
can't
don't
reproduce
have.
through IVF.
No, but they don't have an IVF. So now I
They
have
don't
an
have an
army of
IVF,
10 babies.
therefore your wife is infertile. Yeah, you don't have a fertile wife, man. If we're just
No,
going
I
to
have a
restrict
fertile
access
wife.
to okay, if you have a fertile wife, the non-hetero couple has IVF. Then also not to mention,
But
why are
not
you
with
trying to
together
assemble a
though.
baby army?
But they don't have a fertile. They can't reproduce together. That's what
Wait,
I'm
is
saying.
it
They have to
wrong
do
for
it
hetero
together.
couples to be married over the age of 55?
No,
Why? They literally can't reproduce. There's no
but at least
reproduction
they
to be
could.
had.
It's within their nature though to be able to reproduce. And that's the thought. The thought
Wait, would
counts.
they be able to assemble a baby army?
Well, no, but they're obviously out
Wait,
of
but this
army
was your
because
last point. You just specifically brought up the baby army. They wouldn't be able to assemble the
yeah,
baby
but
army.
the baby
Therefore, it's
army
wrong.
doesn't. But that doesn't count for old people.
Right, and
Why
then
would
also
old
not to mention
people?
that it's specifically not in the nature of a 55-year-old woman to be able to reproduce. This is why I use this point, right? There's
No, it is
absolute
within the nature.
No, because if you're saying it's in the nature of a 55-year-old to be able to reproduce, then you're effectively saying
No, it's
a
in their
55-year-old
biology.
female
They
should
just
be able.
expired.
Hey, Astra, you're not listening, bud. I'm gonna go ahead and repeat myself. Thank
A
you.
rasta, yes.
So it is not in the nature of a 55-year-old woman to reproduce, right? Because if it was in the nature of a 55-year-old woman to reproduce, well, then you'd say they should be able to reproduce. But that's not true. A 55-year-old woman that has gone through menopause should not be able to reproduce. That is a fact of reality. So my
but
question to
their
you is
biology.
it? Yeah, their biology tells them they cannot reproduce.
They just
They
expired.
just have the parts that look like they could reproduce, but they cannot reproduce. That is not true, right?
No.
Small gametes and large gametes are required for reproduction. After a female goes through menopause, she no longer possesses large gametes.
Yes, that is because their timeline, their biology expired, right? They had a time.
Expired is crazy.
had, like-
Expired is so fucking crazy.
But that's
Be so
what this
fucking
is, though.
for real.
Is that not what they are, though? I'm sorry. That is sadly.
Bro, that
their
is
biology.
dude, oh my god. Hey, how old's your mom?
My mom is 43, so she has
Okay,
12 years.
is she with you? Is she in the house with you?
She's sleeping, yes.
Can you go wake her up and say, "Hey, mom, you're gonna fucking expire in 10 years"? All right. Or next
Well-
time you say your grandma, say call her expired.
She's
see how they
sadly,
react to that. See if she,
she's sadly expired in life. So yeah, how about that? Why would you bring up my grandmother, huh? That's not cool, man.
Hey, do you think that being non-hetero is morally wrong?
Wow. No, I don't. I was actually going to try and jump in here and correct him on some of that biology, and my brain hurts now.
I appreciate you for coming up. I appreciate you for coming up to be guests. If we are on this guest request specifically, make sure we do think that it is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Fucking hell. All right, I threw the ball on that one. Dude, that's the standard Christian chat. That is the average Christian debater. The average Christian debater. That was the average Christian debater. Hi, user. Do you think that being non-hetero is wrong? Hi, do you possess vocal cords? Hi. Hi.
Oh,
Hi.
hi. Can you hear me?
I can. Do you think that being non-hetero is wrong?
Do I think that being non-hetero is wrong? I believe it's not right.
Man, why?
Why, right? Why?
Yeah, why? Why is it wrong?
Let me think, okay? Sorry. Yeah. Well. There are many reasons why it's not right.
Dude, please, fucking spare me the dramatics. This is not your 11th grade English class, right? There's many reasons why it's not right. Bro, cut to the fucking chase. What are the reasons? Hello?
You see, one thing why it's not right, it's your fucking behavior. Because this is what you do every time you're trying to interact with people. You got to listen to people. You're a fucking baby, 18, 19 years old kid. We're trying to fucking educate the world about something that
I'm gonna fucking flip your whole world upside down.
Listen to me, motherfucker.
I'm about to flip your whole world upside down, piss boy.
You don't just sit there and insult people. You're a fucking baby. And
Hey,
18
piss boy.
years old.
Hey, piss
So
boy.
shut the fuck up. Go get a master.
Hey,
Come
big
to the
shitta.
people.
Hey, piss boy. Right? He left. I was gonna run the craziest counter argument on him though. Right? He specifically said because of my actions that it's wrong. Well, I'm actually heterosexual. I'm straight. So when this like make heterosexuality wrong? I don't know, man. We're gonna move on to our next guest here, chat. That was some emotions. Hello, are you as emotional as that last guest?
I don't think so.
Yo, so true, so real. So do you think that being non-hetero is wrong?
No, I don't.
Okay, so true, so real. WS. Moving on to our next guest, guys.
okay.
We're just looking for people that do think it's wrong, guys. So if you can't answer the question, just don't request. I love you guys, but please. We're going to move on. Hi, Summer. Do you think that being non-hetero is wrong?
Hey, no, I just wanted to say that
I appreciate you, Summer. I love you, but I am just looking for debates. I will continue to just kick off people that say that.
No.
Hi, do you think that being non-hetero is wrong?
Yes, I do.
Okay, why so?
Yes, so in
So where I'm from, and Somalia, we don't have the non-hetero
You
because
probably do. You just don't know about it.
no, not in my country, the Mogadishu, we don't have because in my religion it is haram. We don't have it. It is bad because in God's nature we have to make babies and
Yeah, what's your religion?
Muslim.
Muslim. How old was Prophet Muhammad when he married Aisha?
That is not relevant. You are a
Why does everyone say
misogynist.
that?
You are racist. You are racist piece of shit. You
Bro,
are
Jesus Christ, you can't win.
no.
Hello? What are you
You
saying?
you look like an ugly boy. Yes.
Oh my God! Can you
Yes.
listen? Answer my question.
Listen,
How old was?
gay. Listen, gay. You are
You're gonna get my life taken down. You're
oh
gonna
my
get my life
bad.
taken down. What is up with the emotional man? What the
In
fuck
Moga
is good with the emotional man? Sir, I'm gonna have you calm down. Also, you said I'm ugly? That's fucking crazy. I could probably pull your mother and your sister at the same time.
I can pull you.
Right. So
I
let's
pull
go ahead and
you.
have you answer my question. I have a question here, right? So how old was Prophet Muhammad when he married Aisha?
How old was your uncle when he penetrated your asshole?
Please, can you just answer my question? I don't really
But
like the
how old
dramatics.
how old was your uncle when he put his dingling in your asshole? Huh? I will put my dingling in your asshole if you don't.
Isn't that fucking self-defeating? You would have put your dingling in my booty. Isn't this self-defeating to the notion that like why do people use that? Why
No.
do straight homophobic men use that as an insult? Like, how can you use that as an insult when you're proactively arguing that non-heterosexuality is wrong?
Because your asshole is the one
Be
getting
who
it.
you are! Good sir,
My
the closet
my
is
is the
glass,
one.
but don't worry, this is an accepting live. We love you for
No, we
exactly
don't.
who
We don't.
you are. I want you to be
No,
who
we
you
don't
are.
accept you.
Can I
We
say a
don't
prayer over you?
accept you. Can I say prayer to you? I pray that your asshole isn't exploded from your uncle's penis.
Yeah, I gotta move on. I gotta move on. I gotta move on. I gotta move on. What is up with these emotional men? Fucking hell. Hi, do you think that being non-hetero is wrong?
Yes.
Okay, are you gonna be as emotional as the last guest? True though, thank you for the subscription.
Nah, man. I listen to your live a lot, so I never really come on because I don't really agree with you, but I do understand the debates that you be having. So, but I pose a question to you. If your father wasn't a heterosexual, would you be here?
Nope.
Okay, then. Your question's already answered.
Okay, is it wrong to not be an engineer?
That doesn't equate to the question that you're asking. That
Sure
has
does.
absolutely nothing to nothing
But yeah,
nothing to do with their.
Can I tell you why it does? Because if
Yeah.
my father was not an engineer, I wouldn't be here. Is it wrong to not be a banker? Because if my mom wasn't a banker, I wouldn't be here. Right? Is it wrong to not get married? Because if my parents didn't get married, I wouldn't be here. Is it wrong to
None
be
of those.
infertile? Because if my parents were infertile, I wouldn't be here. Right? Is it
None
wrong
of
to get
those.
divorced because of my mom didn't divorce her first husband? I wouldn't be here.
None of those questions equate to what you're asking.
So
You
if none
came
of
from
those
your dad's
questions-
nutsack.
So if none of those questions equate to the question that I'm asking, neither does yours. If none of those questions equate to the question that I'm asking, neither does yours. Can you unmute your mic? There you go.
Okay, so it's just that simple, bro. Man, if the basis of your arguments between heterosexuals and non-heterosexuals, the question that I asked you, if your father wasn't a heterosexual, would you be alive today? And your answer was no. That means that there's no basis to your question whatsoever.
Demetrius, I'm trying to demonstrate to you how this isn't doing what you. Do you mind if I speak?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to demonstrate to you how this isn't like proving the point that you want it to prove. I mean, because you're effectively saying if my father was with a different partner, aka a man, I wouldn't be here. But we understand if my father was with a different partner in the sense he was with a different woman, I wouldn't be here either.
He wouldn't be heterosexual then.
Like if my father was literally with anyone else but my mother, I wouldn't be here. So do you see how this point doesn't necessarily prove your argument? So what's your next point? Why is being non-hetero wrong?
That's the only reason that I could come up with, though.
Okay, so do you see how it's self-defeating? Do you see how it's flawed? Do you see how there's a lot of issues with it?
Not really, but
Bro, how do you not see the issues with it? If anything was different about my father's life that led up to him engaging in intercourse with my mother at this exact time and this exact location on an exact date, I wouldn't be here. Literally any fact of his life could have been different and I wouldn't be here. And one of those facts includes his sexuality.
Okay.
So do we see the issue with the argument?
A little.
Right, and then additionally, do you think that infertility is morally wrong?
No.
If my father was infertile, would I be here?
No, you wouldn't.
Point proven.
Yeah.
Nah, anything else?
Nah, but you could have been a test tube baby.
I could not if he was infertile, man. But I could have been a test tube baby if he was non-hetero. But we're going to move on to our next guest here, chat. Let's go and see what our next guest has to say, y'all. If we are in the guest requests, make sure that we specifically do think it is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go and see what our next guest has to say. What's up? Do you think that being non-hetero is wrong?
I do, typically, just because, like, I feel like it's traditional to have, like, a man and a woman in a house.
Okay. So you're on mute. You got to unmute. Damn, raptured by God. I really wanted to engage with this argument. Let's get some L's in chat, dude. I really wanted to engage in this argument. Bro, unmute that mic, please. I want to engage in this argument. There you go. You got raptured by God. You're back now. You're back now.
Engage in this argument.
Sorry, I was...
You got a phone call. I muted your mic. Listen to me. Don't unmute your mic. Swipe out of the TikTok app. Go back into the TikTok app. You have an echo. That's how you fix it. Let's see if she could do it. Let's see if she could follow simple instruction. There, she's doing it. Beautiful. All right, awesome. Unmute that mic. Then go ahead and give us your argument again.
I was just saying that I think it's, like, traditional to have a man and a woman in a house to, like, raise an optimal human being, I think.
Oh, to raise an optimal human being. That's not true at all. In fact, we have many statistics which would indicate that children raised by same-sex couples have the same outcomes as children who are raised by opposite-sex couples.
That could be true.
Well, I mean, it's not that it could be true, it's simply that it is true. If you're interested in looking at the specific statistics yourself, you could go to the link tree and at Parker Get a Jobs bio, go to sources, and then just simply click on the Google Doc labeled, drum roll, since I'm doing it as we speak, and my computer is not loading. Damn, this computer's a real buzzkill. There we go. LGBT citations. And then you'll see a section with about 10 citations that would reference that. Can you give me any reason to believe that children raised by same-sex couples are not going to have the same outcomes as those raised by opposite-sex couples?
Well, wouldn't, like, kids need, like, the male energy and the female energy to, like, learn from both of them and, like, you know, like, see right from wrong, like, with how a man should treat a woman or how a woman should treat a man, or like vice versa, like man should...
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we could demonstrate that they don't need that.
So if it was like two women having a daughter, how would the daughter know how to get treated by a man if she weren't, like, straight? I mean, if she was straight.
I'm really confused by life experience, maybe? I don't know. I feel like that's how we all kind of figure it out. I don't know if it's just me, but, like, I didn't, like, take the way that my mom, like, treats me and convert that to the way I expect another woman to treat me. That's just kind of bullshit. But for example, there's a study called Non-Traditional Families and Childhood Progress Throughout School, a comment on Rosenfield, which is a study published in 2012 in Demography, right, which you could read that demonstrates how there is the same outcomes in context of same-sex and opposite-sex parents and children. Would you be able to give me an academic study that would denote that the outcomes are worse in the context of same-sex parents?
No, I can't.
Okay, well, you can't like give any evidence to demonstrate that your claim is true. You're just kind of talking out your ass. It's really embarrassing, and I hate that you're irrational, and it really harms society. Because think about it. You're just spawning these words in out of existence with no evidence, right? When there's evidence that actually indicates you to be false, and then these words, when, put on the broad scale, turn into social norms, and these social norms impact harm and marginalization onto non-hetero people. You should feel really bad about yourself. I feel like shit.
Okay, well, I mean, you didn't have to like come for me for having an opinion.
Okay, and you didn't have to come to non-hetero people for having kids. I don't see the difference.
I didn't come for them. I was just saying.
You just simply demonstrated how you think they were in the wrong. Well, I simply did the same thing. I demonstrated how I think you're in the wrong.
By coming for me and like saying a bunch of bad shit about me.
Oh, so all of a sudden it's bad, harmful, and wrong to do when we're talking about you. And this is what we call straight privilege, right? You recognize that social norms that only impact non-hetero people don't impact you, so you're fine with them. In fact, you uphold and perpetuate them. But as soon as your feelings are hurt, I'm a big bad guy.
Well, I'm not like going around and shaming them for being not straight.
I didn't shame you. I just said you're in the wrong. You're suboptimal. Isn't that exactly what you said about same-sex parents raising children?
I just felt like, in my opinion, I'm not saying they can't raise kids. Like, yeah, I'm sure the kids turn out perfectly fine. But like, imagine having like a male figure and a female figure in the life, like mother, father figures, Like
so demonstrate that to be true. Demonstrate that makes the outcomes of a child better. Evidence, facts, please. Where's this study at?
I don't have any right now.
Okay, so why don't you go get the evidence and then come back? Beautiful. Hey, so we're just going to move on to our next guest at this point. Fun fact here that I just thought I'd mention. There is no evidence. Real fun fact. Let's go to move on to our next guest, guys. Let's go and talk to our next guest here. Dean Cooked? Yeah, that was brutal one. Hey, what's going on? Do you think that being non-hetero is wrong?
So you mean like the rainbow stuff?
Actually, not a bad way of referencing it. You can't say the GAY word. Yes, that is what I mean. So do you think that being non-heterosexual is wrong?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, why so?
I can say a Bible verse for that.
Oh, good Lord, the Bible. Let's hear it.
Leviticus 18:20.
Oh, wait, actually don't read it out loud. You're going to get my live taken down. But this verse effectively says that non-hetero people should be stoned to death. True? Right, true. So here's my question to you, right? Do you think that the book of Leviticus in the Christian Bible is accurate in telling us what is right and wrong?
Yep.
Okay, so in Leviticus 25 verses 44 through 46, where it says slavery is not wrong, that's an accurate, true moral judgment.
So you're just taking it out of context. You need to have the whole Leviticus thing to read it out. So like,
you're a fucking magic 8 ball.
just-
There's no context. Dude, you're a fucking magic 8 ball. I swear to God, Christians say the same thing every time, but they don't fucking know what they're talking about. The context is God is giving Moses moral laws about slavery, right? And then one of these moral laws about slavery is that the Hebrews could own non-Hebrews as property for life. I'm glad I could give you the context, sir.
wait a minute. I have to cough. It's 4 a.m. here in Russia right now. I can't. Again, I have to drive my car right now. Wait. Wait. Okay. So I stopped right now. Okay, we can. How is it? Arguing? Is it the word? Yeah, we can argue again. So can you tell me why? One thing why it's right?
Because it's not wrong. Beautiful. He's leaving. Moving on to our next guest. 8 down. Absolutely obliterated. We're going to move on to our next guest here, chat. What's up, Manny? Do you think that being non-hetero is wrong?
Yeah, I think it's wrong.
Okay, why so?
I think that it's wrong, like sort of like the same way that smoking or drunk driving is wrong. I just don't think it's good for society at large.
Okay, could you demonstrate how that's the case? Because we could specifically demonstrate that smoking is not good for society at large because it causes people to have cancer and gives them an early death. We could demonstrate that drunk driving, right, is not good at large because it would cause people to unalive others as well as themselves at a heightened risk. So, can you demonstrate how non-heterosexuality would cause issues at society at large?
Okay, well, for one, like spread of STDs way higher among non-heterosexuals, specifically gay relationships.
Okay, so we actually just see different STDs and STIs at different proclivities in heterosexual and non-heterosexual intercourse. So there's simply some STDs at a higher risk in heterosexual intercourse and others at a higher risk in non-heterosexual intercourse. We can't make a blanket statement that it is true it's always higher in non-heterosexual intercourse. But my question to you is, if there is two males who got tested and they're clean, is it okay for them to engage in the act of intercourse?
Okay, I'd still say no, right? But I don't think that's...
So then we just see that point is a non sequitur.
Okay, well, also, what about for families, for example, right? Like, if it's just non-heterosexual relationships, what happens to then just like a regular family structure? That wouldn't be good for children to be raised under.
Oh, so first of all, Parker, I appreciate you for the raid. For everyone watching, Parker's coming in here for a co-host, ladies and gentlemen. He's coming in here for a co-host. Well, yeah, hey, guess what? White supremacists said the same thing about interracial marriage in the 20th century. But because there's no evidence to demonstrate that it actually impacts the quality of the childhood experience or the future of the children and of themselves, we could reject those claims. In fact, I could provide you with a lot of evidence to suggest that same-sex couples have the same outcomes in context of parenting as opposite sex. Also, hello, Parker.
What's good, everyone?
Did you have two parents, like a mom and a dad?
No, me personally, I didn't.
Oh, what did you have?
I had a dad.
Okay, only a dad. So don't you think that your childhood would have been better if you had also a mom?
Yeah, and we could demonstrate that to be true. Households with two parents have better outcomes than households with one parent, but the same cannot be said in comparison of two straight parents to two non-straight parents.
No, yeah, it's true that we can demonstrate that households with two parents are way better than households with one parent.
You hear this bullshit, Parker? I don't think we can. Do it.
Huh? Wait,
give me the evidence.
So look, right, two-parent household is better than one-parent household. So
no, he interpreted you as not two and one. He interpreted you as saying that like non-hetero households produce like worse outcomes comparative to hetero households, because we have plenty of evidence to demonstrate there's no differences between hetero and non-hetero households.
Yo,
what is
turn
that
on your
evidence?
camera. I can put you on the big screen, Parker.
I got you.
No, okay, but what is that evidence though? Because just like you said, right, two-parent households are way better than one-parent
Yeah,
household.
there's a bibliography in my bio set up by this incredible librarian, right? His name is Matt, right? You should check it out.
I got it pulled open. So the first source is going to be Non-Traditional Families and Childhood Progress Throughout School, a comment on Rosenfield published in Demography in 2012. That would basically show that the outcomes of a same-sex couple in context of parenting is the same or equal to that of an opposite-sex couple. This can also be demonstrated through lesbian and gay parents in early childhood settings. A systemic review of research literature published in the Journal of Early Childhood Research by A. Sledge in 2016 that would show consistent results.
Okay, but that's not what I've personally experienced, because I personally have a kid. I personally know somebody who has like two dads, and they're fucked up in the head, and they probably wouldn't have been if they had like a mom in their house, because all they had is just like a male influence in their life, right? So they never got to have.
Can you give me any statistical evidence to indicate that specifically having one particular sex or gender in the household would have produced a better outcome?
Man, this is what you guys do. Like, all you guys
we
do
ask
is just
for reason and evidence. My bad.
studios,
Sorry.
the
Facts don't preside over feelings to you, and I'm
'cause
sorry
you
that
guys
I
just
use facts. My
memorize,
bad.
like, the same talking points. Like, memorize the same
Yes,
talking
just
points.
they just
This
use
guy-
facts too much, right? You should stop using so many facts, right?
No, because it's just like you guys have these fucking like pre-written responses to everything, bro.
Pre-written?
Like the last guy,
Right.
yeah, it's
Well,
like the
then
last guy,
apparently
he
we have
brought up this one
incredibly.
Bible verse, and I swear I've seen like these streams before, but these people bring up like the same Bible verse all the time. But you guys sound like robotic, just like reciting that slavery.
Well, it's maybe
talking
because we
point.
have similar conversations. Like it sounds like you'd say the same thing to a professor that's teaching the same thing at a school. Well, it's going to be the same thing that someone doesn't understand, right? But it's a different individual, right? We talk to different people about similar issues. Similarly, like a professor does a similar lecture plan throughout the context of every year.
Man, hold on. Let me think this through, bro. I'll be back. Wait, how do I leave this?
Bro. He's dipping. He's scared. He's running. Oh, shit. I about just kicked you, Parker. Whoops.
Good. W.
Yeah.
W.
Crazy. We're going to move on to our next guest here, chat. In the meantime, y'all make sure that we're double tapping. If you want to support myself or Parker, guys, our Venmos, Cash Apps, and PayPals are in our bios. That is the best way
hello?
to support us,
Can
ladies.
you hear me?
What is good,
No.
man? Do you think that... Nope.
Hello?
I'm just trolling. I can hear you.
Do you think that being non-hetero is wrong?
Yes.
Why is
Go for it,
that?
man.
Because I feel like it.
Okay. Do you have any reason?
Okay, so from the last conversation you guys were having, let's say statistically speaking, let's say 98% of the population were gay, lesbian, or whatever you want to call it. Right? Let's say the childbirth and humans would eventually go extinct because of that. Like, the childbirth would be extremely slowed down.
Are you Christian?
No.
No, you're not? Okay. Do you think it's wrong to, not have sex with people?
No.
You don't think it's wrong? But if everyone just didn't have sex with people, right, we would have less reproduction, right?
Right.
So then why wouldn't you consider it wrong on an individual basis for someone to not have sex with anyone?
Wait, what? I don't understand.
Okay, he just left.
No, okay.
He just didn't understand. He just didn't understand, chat. Moving on to our next guest here, Kay. Also, y'all...
You had CPU meltdown there.
Bro, that band kind of took it out a little bit. We're at 2.1.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm sorry,
Still pretty good.
To join. Sorry.
No worries, Kay. For everyone watching, y'all...
That
did
could
you
have been
think
me. 'cause I'm on
No,
this account.
it's been happening since we started. You actually boosted the views. W Parker for that.
W.
Guys, if you do think that being non-hetero is wrong, make sure to hop into the guest requests. Everyone, y'all, we only have a couple guest requests right now, so make sure to hop in there if that is a view in which you hold. But in the meantime, we're going to move on to our next guest here, chat. Trav, thank you for the heart memes. I appreciate you for that. We're going to move on to Danielle, y'all. All right, guys, we're going to go. What's up, man? Do you think that being non-hetero is wrong?
Yes.
All right, take it away, man. Why's that?
Well, yeah, first of all, I'm Christian. I'm going to say that.
Really?
This guy loves that. But, yeah. So
I just love watching Parker talk to Christians. It is a work of art.
Okay, let's go, Parker. Well, for me, yeah, obviously in the Bible it states that it's wrong. I don't have anything against it because me, like, also, I'm also...
Do you believe in
single.
Adam and Eve?
Yeah.
Okay, do you think incest is bad?
Yeah,
What?
VT, thank you
think
for the
incest
galaxy.
is
I
bad?
appreciate you for the love.
Well, they didn't have anyone else to do it with. So in that case, no.
Oh, okay, so God commanded there to be incest here.
Well, there was nothing wrong with it because they were the only humans there. But let's just talk about...
But he could have made more humans.
Well,
So
he
God
only
prefers
started with two.
incest over non-incest.
Right. Also,
Well,
not to
I don't
mention
know
that
why
even if
God
it was
does the things
required
he
to save
does.
humanity, then I'd even make this statement. Even if it was required to continue humanity, that shit would still be wrong. Like, for instance, imagine Eve didn't want to engage in intercourse with Adam. Would it be acceptable for Adam to grape Eve, since it would be required to continue humanity?
Well, no. God could have made someone else. I don't know why God does the things he does. Like, no one knows why God
could have made someone else.
That was Parker. That was Parker's counter argument.
But yeah, let's talk about the thing about heterosexuals and that. Well, obviously the Bible states that it's wrong, but also everyone does already like a lot of wrong things. I do a lot of wrong things too. I have nothing against it, but because of my religious standpoint, I have to be like against it. You know what I mean? But still, doesn't mean I have anything against like. It's not like I hate those people or anything because I'm just as bad.
Thank you so much for the galaxy. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, so I have a
if I had to
question.
ask you- Okay.
Yeah, so like, why should we hold the Bible to be accurate in describing what's right and wrong?
Well, the Bible has historical evidence of being true.
What
And
historical evidence is that?
Well, first, okay, I'll give you this point. So scientists most, or if not all scientists believe that the universe was at some point created or came to be. There was at some point not a universe. You know what I mean? So it's not eternal. And everything that's not eternal.
Not necessarily, because if you mean what you mean by universe is the state of all things, well then it could be eternal, right? It's just the Big Bang isn't eternal. Like I'm not eternal. Because there's a beginning to me doesn't mean there's a beginning to all things.
If you trust pretty much all scientists in the world, then you trust that there was a beginning to the universe.
Again, right? So a beginning to these sorts of state of affairs, not to everything in existence. That's not what they're saying.
What do you mean? What are they saying then?
They don't know if that's the beginning of all existence. They're saying it's the beginning of the Big Bang of this universe. It depends on what you mean by universe. If what you mean by universe is things in which we currently observe, all right, things in which we can currently engage with, the material world, right, things like that, well then yeah, it would be considered the beginning of what we see in this context.
Steven,
it's the beginning of all states.
Steven, thank you for the
How do
$20
you know there are other
over.
universes?
One second, Daniel. Steven, thank you for the $20 over PayPal, man. I seriously appreciate you so much for the love. You just bought me fucking dinner. W Steven in that chat, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for the love, Steven. But guys, go ahead and continue. I just had to thank Steven real quick.
So what makes you think there are other universes?
Never said there was.
Oh, you said I said that scientists are saying that there's a beginning to the universe, and you said, well, it could just be this universe. What about the other universes? You said that.
That's not what I said.
Well, what did you say?
I said it doesn't mean it's the beginning to all states. It's the beginning to what we currently observe and what we are engaging with, but it is not the beginning of all states of existence.
And by what we observe, is this all of space and so what is that not the universe? I don't follow what you're trying to say.
What do you mean? Right,
So-
it depends on what you mean by the universe. By the universe, do you mean the existence of all things? Appreciate the cat, thank you so much. Or do you mean, right, like things in which we currently observe, are engaging with, the Big Bang, like it depends on what you're referencing.
So the existence of everything, all things.
So yeah, we don't know if it's the beginning of all things.
So scientists have come to believe that there was at some point a beginning. That's why there's theories of the Big Bang. And if you trust one of the smartest
Bro, he's
scientists,
just not fucking tracking, dude.
Yeah, so it's just dependent on what you're saying is beginning, right? The beginning of me isn't the same thing as the beginning of all things.
Well, okay, let's just talk about the beginning of literally everything. So if you trust
Yeah,
Albert
the
Einstein,
beginning of the Big Bang isn't necessarily the beginning of everything.
it's not.
Not necessarily.
Why is that?
Because it could be the case that there are things that existed prior to this.
Well, scientists believe that there weren't.
Actually, no. I know scientists would make that claim. Literally, not one scientist would make that claim with certainty.
Why
They
is
would
that?
say we don't have data.
Yeah. Can you name one scientist that would make the claim that nothing existed before the Big Bang?
Can you?
No, because they don't exist. Scientists don't make that claim, man. So,
Well, can you name a scientist that would?
Yeah, Dr. Blitz.
say that
Yeah, Doctor. I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, Dr. Blitzman.
Oh, I don't know who that guy is.
He has a PhD in mathematics and physics.
Mathematical physics.
Mathematical
Okay, let's talk about the Big Bang then. Even if let's say this. Well, either way, we know the universe had a beginning. Scientists are saying there was a beginning.
Bro, you're just going back to your same fucking claim. You sound like a magic 8-ball. With all due respect, no, they don't.
But what?
No,
show me
literally
this
not.
guy.
Dr. Blitz? He's probably asleep
look
right
him
now.
on TikTok. He goes live every single day in the morning.
Yep. Probably
Okay,
asleep
but-
right now, though. He lives in Europe.
Okay, let's make another claim. So you're saying, why should I trust the Bible? Yeah, that's what you were saying.
How do you know that the Bible's
Okay.
accurate in determining what
Yeah.
is right and wrong?
Okay, but either way, the to make this universe-
Humans are unreliable, right?
Well, pretty kind of. It
Kind
depends.
of?
But
They can be?
it can be. I guess it depends on the human. But if you look at this,
No, is
this
information
universe,
from
the
humans
intricate-
unreliable? Yes or
What? What?
no? Is information from humans unreliable?
Yeah, it can be.
Okay, if it's unreliable, well then why did God leave the story of the Bible up to humans, right, to make the message from God unreliable?
Well, I'm not saying every human is unreliable.
Okay, so God picks particular humans that are reliable.
Yeah.
How do you know that they're reliable?
Well, for example, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, they were there during when Jesus was there.
But how do you know that they're reliable?
Yeah, well,
Because
how do you even know that they wrote those gospels? Oh, wait, can you give me one verse from any of the synoptic gospels in which it is stated that they are written by Matthew, Mark, and Luke?
No.
No, you can't. You don't even know that those gospels are written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Well, that's what the Bible says.
Where? I don't. The Bible actually.
Well, why do you
doesn't
believe
say
that?
No,
Why do I
Parker.
believe that?
Parker, the
Also,
Bible actually doesn't even.
Oh, wait,
say
no. You said the Bible says that? No, it doesn't. Yeah, wait, please show me the verse.
Well, there's no verse, but it's obviously it's written by these people. It's named after.
You're
these
right.
people.
There's no verse.
Yeah, but it's named after these people that were there during the time of Jesus. But let me say my claim. The universe and its intricateness, everything is so like exact to us, like a certain detail that
Yeah, God's mind is intricate, right?
For it to be
Down
made
to an
like,
exact
for it to be
detail.
made randomly.
Why is God's mind finely tuned?
Yeah, thank you for the cap. Then also
Why
not
is
to
that?
mention that those gospels literally couldn't have been written by them because the earliest text in which we would have, right, would come from what, like 56 AD, right? And we would specifically know that it's improbable that those would be direct sources from them, right? And then as far as the gospels go, I think that those would come like what, 100 or so AD? Right? We just have like a couple like Greek and Roman scholars that would like talk about Jesus from prior to 100 AD that we could source back to. But then the Gospels then of themselves started popping up in between like 100 and 300 AD.
Well, how you know it's not written by these people? It was written
they
by
were dead
and translated like throughout the years, translated by different people.
Are you saying that like they actually did write this down? We just don't have the original texts?
Yeah.
Oh, well, how do you know that to be true?
Well, because it's been like several translations, and obviously they spoke like different languages and wrote in different languages.
Well, we're not even talking about the translations. We're talking about the original texts.
The original text. Well, I don't have the original text. I don't think we have the original text. It's a whole different language, and compared to the Bible we have today, that's been translated multiple times.
That's
So
not
we
even
know
what
we
we're
can
talking about. I'm
understand
saying
it.
the original texts of the Gospels came after they died.
Why is that?
Why is that? Because that's just what we date them back to. I mean, are you like? Do you want to ask me why? Why? I don't know why that's the case. It just simply is.
How do you know that they were written after they died?
Yeah, in the same way we date any historical artifacts, like carbon dating, etc.
So you're saying that we do have the original text?
Yeah, but the original texts were written after the apostles had died. Like the closest we can get, right, to any of the original apostles and what they thought or what they wrote was Josephus, who was friends with the brother of Jesus.
Okay, well, can I just say my claim? Okay, so what I was talking about before, the universe and its intricateness, everything is so specific to every detail that for it to not have a creator is like less likely like to believe that. Like it's smarter to believe that there is a creator than for it to believe that there isn't. Pretty much.
Absolutely not. Right?
Why?
So in the same way that you say that fine tuning is a problem under atheism, well, fine tuning is a problem under God. Because it is the case that God's mind and God's desires are a particular way to bring about this reality, rather than bring about a reality where there's just Nickelodeon slime, or there's just marbles, or there's just oceans, or there's just fish, right? All of those things could just be the case and no humans, right? So God's desires are perfectly fine-tuned to bring about humans rather than any other type of state of affairs. So similarly, how you say that there's fine-tuning under naturalism, well, there's also fine-tuning under theism.
What do you mean by fine tuning?
Well, you just mean that like the characteristics. I appreciate the paper crane. Thank you so much. Are a particular way rather than being a different way.
Yeah, well, like the characteristics they are now, like of the universe, like
to produce something that like is going to function.
Yes,
right?
if it was
in
off,
something similar to some way similar to ours.
yeah, if it was slightly off, then there would be no life at all. Everything as we know.
And if God's desires
And if
were
God's
slightly
desires were slightly off, there wouldn't be humans. There would
Yeah.
be lizards or cars.
True. Well, what's your point?
Is like, why would you expect this world over any of those other worlds given God's desires?
The cognitive dissonance from this man is fucking crazy.
Well, would I prefer this world? Because
You prefer this world, but why would a God prefer this world over all those other worlds? Seems like God had his desires already set a particular way rather than being a different way.
See, nobody knows what God is thinking, and it's beyond our comprehension.
And nobody knows the state of affairs required to bring about our existence right now, right?
Yeah, and
We'll
it's like
probably
we don't
understand that in the future, but we don't right at the moment.
Yeah, we don't even have to like assume knowledge on what God is thinking. We just have to assume that he could have thought otherwise, which is evidently clear given the fact you find your God to be infinite.
Well, why do you have to think about what he would have thought? Why does that matter?
Okay, well then why, right, did the parameters of the universe that could have been different matter?
It doesn't matter
Right,
if it
so
could
therefore
be.
the fine-tuning argument is just shit, right? Fine-tuning does not imply a creator.
No, what the point we would say is that it would just like it wouldn't provide a relevant difference between the two views. So it's not going to be indicative of one view over the other.
It does imply that there is a creator. The chances of there being like not a creator and all this coming from fate is so little, practically impossible.
Why is that?
Because everything in the universe is so intricately made. If a proton was
And the
slightly
same thing with God's desires.
Same thing. Like I don't get what you're saying with God's desires. It doesn't matter what his desires are.
Is God infinitely ordered?
Yeah, he's infinite.
Is God infinitely perfect?
Yeah.
Right? So this would mean that God's desires are infinitely ordered. God's desires are infinitely perfect. God's desires are intricately made. So it seems as if the desire of God to bring about life as we know it to be was fine-tuned.
Oh, what do you mean fine-tuned? What do you mean it was fine-tuned?
We're using this in the same way in which you would be using it to grant explanatory power to your hypothesis of theism.
What do you mean by theism? Atheism?
I literally described these things to you earlier, but I mean, did you listen?
I don't know how we can make this more simple. You're saying something about the universe could have been different that didn't allow for human life. True?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Therefore, there's a creator. Okay. Well, something about the desires of God could have been different that didn't allow for human life. True?
Yeah, but they weren't different.
Right? In the same way that
Yeah, and the state of affairs in our world weren't different.
So what is that point doesn't prove anything though? You're saying
I don't know.
We just proved it. Like it doesn't and the state of affairs required to bring us about weren't different than they are now.
This is fucking crazy. The cognitive dissonance observed in this guess is just fucking wild. I'm just like impressed almost.
Man, look, I still understand what you're trying to say. So I'm saying that the specificity, the intricateness of the universe. If a proton was slightly smaller, nothing would exist as we know it. But you guys are just saying if
a desire of God was slightly different, human life as we know it when it exists.
Okay,
But it wasn't. Just like the parameters of the universe weren't different either, right? But it wasn't. But the proton wasn't slightly bigger.
Oh, okay. I think I know what you're trying to say. But just look back at it. Even like if it was like God's desires thing, whatever you're talking about, the chances of it being made without a creator is much lower than having a creator.
Bro,
Why?
Because of
And
all
you say the intricate design?
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to ask you the same reason. What about the intricate design of God's mind? Why is it this way rather than being a different way?
What about it?
Okay, in the same way that you just assume that God has those properties, well, you could say that about the universe.
Okay. So are you guys atheists?
Yeah.
Bro, I don't like I don't know if I want to talk too much more. I'm not gonna lie, Daniel. Like you are like you don't have abstract thought. You don't possess the ability. You're irrational. You're ignorant, and you have cognitive dissonance. I don't really.
Why am I ignorant? Why am I ignorant?
Right, because we are just so like easily explaining, right, a critique of the fine tuning argument as it could also apply to your hypothesis, and you just don't get it. You just don't understand it.
Okay, then I'll give one more argument then. So if you guys are atheists, you guys obviously you have morals. Why do you guys think you have morals? Why do you guys think you can know what right from wrong? If there was no creator,
right and wrong are just dependent upon our preferences.
Exactly. Why do we have these preferences while all these other like creatures and animals don't? Why do we get to like think like this? Why do we have all these moral things that are like really similar to one another? Like none of us think that stealing is good. No one thinks killing is good. Well, at least
Because
most
it has evolutionary advantages. Like I feel like that's incredibly clear. Like I feel like we could reduce like the majority of like human preference in the context of morality down to like some like evolutionary advantages, right? Like we could just simply say that we want to reduce suffering on human life because that just makes evolution more prosperous. Right. We could also reduce it down to like some idea of strategy. Like you wouldn't want someone to, cut your arm off. So therefore you're not going to cut someone else's arm off. Right. There's like plenty of ways to explain this.
And then how come these animals aren't like this then?
Yeah, because they don't have like subjective experiences in the same way we do.
So you think, you're like, as an atheist, and you believe that everything that like, every decision you ever made is just made because of a chemical reaction in your brain. There's nothing like else to it, but just chemical reactions.
Yeah. What do you think? There's something magic happening? You think our brains are?
I believe that we have like souls.
Okay.
So magic. You believe in magic?
Yeah. So real. Are you just saying that the idea that all of our decisions are made by chemical reactions is undesirable?
Yeah.
Well, the undesirability of a proposition to be true doesn't mean that it's not true.
Okay. Right. So you guys are telling me you think like this a feeling like, for example, love. That's just a chemical reaction. That's just oxytocin. That's all it is.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I don't get like why.
I'm sure there's probably more complex things that we'll figure out to explain these sorts of phenomena in the future, but our current understanding of it indicates this.
Right. And then once again, right, just because it's undesirable to you doesn't like that's not a real critique. This doesn't mean that it's false. None.
Well, I expect it to be undesirable to everybody.
Okay, was death undesirable to anyone? To everyone?
It depends. So you guys believe after death there's this blank.
To the majority of people, is death undesirable?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just gonna say it's justified for people to believe in like heaven stuff.
Why wouldn't it be justified?
Because there's no evidence.
There's no evidence.
What would justify it if there's no evidence or a reason?
I've given you these evidence.
What evidence?
The first thing I said about the universe being created is intricateness and the moral.
Dude, it's like, okay, so like, what did we say in response to that?
Your fine tuning thing.
Yeah.
Which, I don't even think makes sense. I don't understand.
What about it doesn't make sense? Because I'll explain it to you.
And
I'd love to explain it to you. What doesn't make sense?
No, we're not going to get anywhere. We already tried. But also with the universe, you guys said...
It sounds like you're not open to it.
Oh, no, I was trying to, but it wasn't working out. So I don't want to waste you guys' time. And first of all, the universe, when I started off about how the universe...
So then why keep perpetuating the same thing if you didn't understand an argument against it? What do you expect us to say in response to that if you just didn't understand our position?
I'm not talking about the fine-tuning now. I'm talking about the first claim I made.
You brought up the fine-tuning. You said your justification for it was the intricate design.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, I mean, you brought up fine-tuning. How else do you expect us to respond to that?
I'm expecting you to respond to this I'm about to say. When I said that the universe, there was a beginning to the universe, this universe is not eternal, you guys made a claim saying that there was stuff before.
Oh, no, we didn't make a claim saying there was stuff before. We made a claim saying there could have been stuff before. Right?
There could have, but most scientists don't believe that.
Again, there are plenty of scientists that believe that. Right? But again, no one has data on this. So regardless of belief, right, it is the case that right? No one has any evidence to indicate what's going to happen.
So all the scientists that made this claim about the Big Bang.
Give me one. Give me one scientist that would hold to the claim that it is certain nothing was present prior to the Big Bang.
Well, I don't know specifically.
Because they don't exist. It's because they do not exist.
So then, how does everyone who started this thing about the Big Bang? Then everyone's heard it.
Bro, the Big Bang just has to do with the rapid expansion of the universe, right? Or
Yeah.
like, in other words, the expansion of the universe. And we know that the Big Bang is true because we could observe it currently, as well as there's evidence of a more rapid expansion billions of years ago, right? But what we're specifically denoting is on the existence of anything prior to the Big Bang. And no scientist will absolutely reject that idea due to the lack of data. Right.
So
there's
do
no
you
evidence to reject said hypothesis. I mean, we could also say there's not enough evidence to hold it to be the case, but given it's a possibility, right, it seems as if, right, like a cosmological argument would fail here.
So do you think this universe is eternal?
Yeah, I see no reason why it wouldn't be.
I don't
Why
know.
is that? Why is that?
I just told you, I see no reason why it wouldn't be.
Oh. Okay, you can't name any scientists for that claim, or any studies or anything saying why it wouldn't.
Well, when we're saying the universe, I'm just saying all.
No,
of it exists.
I literally told them multiple times there's no data to cite there.
Yeah.
So if there's no data to cite there, how could we form a conclusion?
I've seen plenty of videos of people talking about the Big Bang, saying that the universe. There's plenty of scientists that believe that there was a beginning to the universe. You guys don't believe this? You guys believe there was a beginning?
When they say that, again, it's really important what they mean, right? And also, just because there's a scientist that says that, right, they believe in God doesn't mean God would exist.
Oh wait, then yeah. Well, typically speaking, those same scientists that would make the
That's
claim
not
there's a
what
beginning
they're-
of the universe would also make the claim that God doesn't exist. Almo, thank you for the sweet memories. I appreciate you for the love. So if you're willing to use scientific consensus to make a justified claim, well, what about the scientific consensus in the context of a belief in God?
Well, first of all, that's what I was talking about. The scientists that believe that there was a beginning to the universe. These scientists believe that there was a God. For example,
no, I think that this
Albert
statistic is
Einstein.
overwhelming.
Albert
it's
Einstein is agnostic.
Yeah,
What's
it's
agnostic?
maybe 10% of academics and scientists are atheists.
I think it might be higher than that, but I mean, again, that's like asking a mechanic's opinion on how an airplane operates, right? If they're a car mechanic, or that's like asking a doctor their opinion on how this car operates.
Well,
Why would you go to a mechanic?
So you're saying what? You said 10%, or you said probably higher than that?
It is higher than that. However, it is twice. It is half of the national average. Right. So for every average citizen that exists, there's half of a scientist that exists that believes in God. But anyways, I don't really see where this conversation's going, man. You're just repeating your claims. I don't really feel like you know what you're talking about.
Okay, then let me ask you guys: why you guys decide to be atheists?
Because I think
it's not reasonable to believe in the Christian notion of God or any notion of God. I don't see there to be sufficient evidence.
Don't think of the Christian God only. Just think about any creator. So you guys think this?
Yeah. I don't think there's sufficient evidence for any creator.
So you guys think the universe? So you guys were saying before that the universe, that there was something before.
Would you stop making knowledge claims on our behalf? Suspended judgment, aka agnosticism, is specifically the suspending of judgment, right? We don't claim to hold any knowledge, right, in the context of a creator.
I don't get what you're saying.
Right, I wouldn't claim a God world. I wouldn't claim a non-God world. However, right, if on a scale of 1 to 7, with 1 being God certainly exists and 7 being God does not exist, certainly speaking, I'd be a 6.5. But I wouldn't claim that knowledge. Right, that's just what suspended judgment is about, man. But there's just going to be particular issues in the context of the Christian narrative of a creator.
Okay, well, I guess these the evidence or facts I'm giving isn't convincing you guys, But I can give you guys an anecdote. So like the reason like I believe in God, well, first of all, I was growing up as a Christian, but
Wait,
like
an anecdote? I'm sorry, man. Neither of us are going to accept that.
Yeah, we don't really care. Can I just ask
Like,
you a quick
I wanna be
question?
totally real.
Can you
that's,
give
that's
me,
like another
how do you
form
know
of
that?
evidence.
How do you know that the Christian God thinks that like non-heterosexuality is wrong?
Well, it states in the Bible.
Yeah, where? What verse?
I'm pretty sure it's. I remember the guy says somewhere in Leviticus. I don't know specifically in the Bible,
Leviticus?
but I've read it
You
before.
said it says in Leviticus. So do you think that the book of Leviticus in the Christian Bible is accurate in determining what's morally right and wrong?
So you're gonna bring up the thing about slaves, but back then slaves is just like someone that had like owed you something. They used
No, that's
the
not
word
true.
slave as something else. It is
No,
true.
absolutely.
Have you read
Absolutely
Leviticus
not true.
25:44 through 46?
I don't remember. No.
Yeah, it says your male and your female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living amongst you and the members of your clan born in your country. All right. You may also bequeath them to your children as inherited property for life, but you are to not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly.
Damn,
This
Dean's
basic-
memorizing that verse pretty well.
Fuck yeah. This basically depicts a slave to be property that is owned a human that's owned as property for life by their quote unquote master, right?
Okay, back then, like the traditions and stuff, having a slave is not like how you're thinking of it. Like, for
No,
example,
you're thinking for the
they treated,
Israelites.
like black people.
Yeah, I'm so real. Bro, I'm
And
literally
actually, it
telling-
was right. If you want to
no,
look at the
well-
context of chattel slavery in the Bible, right? I can send you multiple like academic papers, scholarly articles on how the conditions of chattel slavery in the Bible, right, are similar to those seen in the antebellum era in the South.
Right, true. Because here's the conditions of slavery from the Bible. A slave, according to the Bible, was a human owned as property for life by another human that can beat them as a punishment. Right? These conditions are met via Leviticus 25, 44, and 46, and Exodus 21, 20 through 21.
God never like allowed like beating someone else.
Do you have a Bible on you?
Yeah, I do.
Go to Exodus 21, verses 20 through 21, and read it out loud, Poops.
Give me a second. Exodus what?
Exodus 21, verses 20 through 21. Basically says you can't kill them, but you could beat them as long as they recover in 3 days, since they're your property. But I want you to read it out loud for us, so let's go to
Okay, Exodus 21. Okay, I'm at Exodus 21. Can you say it again? What was it?
verses 20 through 21. You did this to yourself, Pookie. I feel bad. Read it out loud for everyone to hear. 2,000 people in the room. Let them know.
Anyone who beats their male or female slave with a rod must be punished if the slave dies as a direct result. But they are not to be punished if the slave recovers after a day or two, since the slave is their property. Well, I don't know any of the context behind this.
No, we need context for this. All right, you're saying context
Obviously,
justifies this?
You can't just take one random verse out of this entire.
What do you mean? What context justifies that?
Well,
like,
first
tell
it
me.
could have been.
I think the only context that could justify that is like God saying, "Oop, it's opposite day. This next verse is gonna be a joke."
Okay, no. First of all, it could have been like the translations, the
Not
words
even.
that use them.
That wouldn't even justify it.
It can. It can. When they say like beat, it could refer to like not actually like that bad. It could just be
Not that bad.
some
Not that bad.
punishment.
Please.
As long as they don't die, right? That's not that bad.
Well, first of all,
sir, hello.
the
This is
traditions
a
back then-
Wendy's. This is a Wendy's, sir.
Okay, first of all, like the traditions they had back then, the words they were using, they could be like very different when translated into our times now.
Wait, so the Bible's unreliable?
It's not unreliable. You just have to like take time to study it. Why do you think it's unreliable?
Yeah, because you're just rejecting scripture now. If you could just reject the scripture where it says
It's
you
not.
could beat
I'm
your
not.
slave,
I'm
why
not
can't I
rejecting.
just reject the scripture where it says
I'm not rejecting it, but I'm not gonna make.
non-heterosexuality is wrong.
I'm not gonna make a claim without actually knowing, like the context behind
What's
it.
the
and, like,
context? What's the
I don't know.
context?
That's what I'm
Poops?
saying. I don't know it. That's why I can't make a claim about
Okay,
it.
wait, I have a question. What is the context behind Leviticus 18, verse 22 that condemns non-heterosexuality?
Okay, let me find it.
We could also just ask him if he would kill an infant, right? Like, have
true?
you read 1 Samuel 15:3?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Wait,
it says that Saul should have killed the Amalekite women men, women, children, and infants. Right?
Okay,
Right, I
you
just-
guys.
Oh, go
You
ahead.
guys are making these claims without actually knowing anything like about.
No, we know what's going on there.
Bro,
You don't?
I kind of study religion religiously.
That's
What
kind
do
of
you-
crazy, bro.
You study it.
I fucking love Christianity, dude. I love to study it. The history behind it is epic.
Dean's gonna get clips, bro.
Dude, fuck me.
Alright.
I do happen to study Christianity quite a
Hey,
bit.
I was
So
asking
does-
what- okay.
So does Parker.
We got off course a bit. Wait, let me ask you. Why you think heterosexuality? Why do you think that's wrong? Well, not wrong. Why do you think being gay?
So
is
you're
okay?
completely pivoting.
What? When
So
did
you're
we say heterosexuality is wrong?
Dude,
No. The point of the
I'm
life.
literally straight, dude.
The point of the life. The point of the life. That's what I didn't mean to say. I meant to say what. Why do you guys think being gay is okay? Like,
Okay, so you're going to disregard the questions in context of slavery in Leviticus. You're going to disregard
No,
the
I'm
questions
not
in context of.
disregarding.
Hey, buddy, don't interrupt me. It's not your life. Pipe down. You're going to
Alright.
disregard the questions in context of slavery in Leviticus. You're going to disregard the questions in context of beating your slaves in context of Exodus 21. You're going to disregard the questions in context of 1 Samuel where it says to kill infants. And then you're going to disregard my critique of you saying that you have to understand the context behind a verse to make claims on it, but then you not being able to give me the context behind Leviticus 18 where it condemns being non-heterosexual. So, and now you just want to ignore that all because you knew that you were boxed in the corner like a fish, right? And then just completely pivot and ask us why we don't think it's wrong. Is that embarrassing or embarrassing? Were you silenced or silent? I don't know. Gagged, I fear.
the way I know that being gay is wrong is because in the Bible it says
You gotta say
it's-
non-hetero.
It's a sin. It's a sin. I already know. Yeah, sins are wrong. It's that simple.
Dude, you provide no sufficient evidence of this, not to mention that if you would accept Leviticus as a
Can you tell me
reliable
where in the Bible that it condemns non-hetero marriage?
I don't know where, but I remember reading that it says homosexuals will not inherit the kingdom of God, and it's completely up to you. It depends on the person. You can either like.
Why is he pivoting around everything? Why is he pivoting around
In
everything?
the Bible, it says that Daniel is going to hell.
What? What do you? Okay. It says homosexuals will not inherit the kingdom of God, and it's that simple.
Dude,
Where?
What the fuck is this pivoting? I'm so annoyed with this. I'm gonna sit back. I can't do it. This is all you, Parker. I can't do it.
Daniel, where?
I don't remember.
Yeah. So it also says that Daniel's going to hell.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, bro. Just, I'm trying to say that like based
So,
on my
like, based upon the scripture, it says you're going to hell. You're going to hell, bud.
But if the scripture did say that, then I would be going to hell.
Later, buddy.
Look, I got nothing against you guys, but if you guys just can't my whole reasoning behind being gay is wrong, is because of a religion.
Like, if you don't provide me any evidence or any verse, I don't have to provide.
I can't give you solid. I can't give you solid evidence why Jesus exists. Can you give me solid evidence that we're not in a bad dream right now?
Jesus existed.
You believe he existed?
Yeah, I
You're
based it on
Christian?
probability. No, I'm not Christian. Believing
so
Jesus existed does not mean you're Christian. I don't believe he
Okay.
resurrected, but I believe he existed.
Why don't you believe he resurrected if you believe he existed?
No sufficient evidence for resurrection.
Like what? Like all the eyewitnesses that were there.
How do you know that there's any How do you know that there's any eyewitnesses there? Because Paul
Because of
claims there
all,
was.
because of like what it says in the Bible.
No. Paul claims that there's 500 eyewitness testimonies of his resurrection in the same way that Jesus claimed he was the Son of God.
Well,
if we're
believe Abraham Lincoln existed?
Of course,
There's no solid evidence, but do you believe Abraham Lincoln existed?
we have pictures of him, man.
There's also solid evidence
do you
of Jesus
think
existing. There's solid
Alexander-
evidence of Jesus crucifying on the cross, but there's not solid evidence of a personal tomb.
Right, I'd say that there's solid evidence
we-
of 3 facts about Jesus. Right, he was a
can't find his
Galilean
body.
Jew. So the 3 things we know about Jesus: he was a Galilean Jew, he was baptized by a dude named John, and he was crucified, aka executed by a Roman emperor by the name of Pontius Pilate. Those are the 3 things that we know about his life.
Hey,
And
so
the
you
same
guys-
historians that claim that would also be the individuals in which make claims about Abraham Lincoln or George Washington, etc.
Yeah, well, we have to just believe this history. There's nothing else that that gives there's this history and there's the things that telling us that he was resurrected, and there's nothing telling us that he
Do you
wasn't.
believe that Muhammad was a prophet?
If he was a prophet, no. I mean, I don't believe.
Bro,
in
why? Bro,
Islam.
dude, come on. You're saying that your evidence for Christianity being the son of God is the book, and we just have to believe it since it's history. But then as soon as we talk about another book, you're like, oh, we could completely disregard it. It's not history.
No, because this person, he like lived. How was it like 600 years after Jesus or something?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly.
How many years after Jesus did the people who transcribed the Bible down?
Jace, thank you for
live?
the $10 on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love. I'm gonna check out those verses as well, Jace. Thank you.
The first copies we have are from like 70 AD, right?
70. Yeah, and that's much more reliable than 600 years after.
Bro, what?
Yeah, but are you saying that is reliable? If God wanted it to be reliable, why did he leave it up to that process?
Well, God, it's not about being reliable. If you want to follow God,
why would
can't-
God want his message to be unreliable?
Okay, I'll explain it. If there was solid evidence and proof that of his existence, then everyone would believe in him. It has
Okay,
to be,
isn't
the
that what he
relationship
wants?
with him has to be built upon faith.
Oh, are you saying that
So
people...
then for the people that met him in person, they can't have a solid relationship with him?
Yeah, they can.
So the
might have
prophets
met
aren't
him in
going to
person,
heaven. So the prophets aren't going to heaven? Isaiah, Moses?
but
Daniel, they're fucked?
they met him, but it was still their choice to actually like believe in him.
Okay.
And this
So
would be true of
even
everyone.
though we could meet God, and it could still be our choice.
Right.
So
Yeah.
why doesn't God let us meet him?
Well, because then nothing would be built on faith.
Why does it need to be on faith?
Because if it wasn't, then everyone would just believe in him. For example,
So
if
what's the
God
issue with
literally
that?
just showed himself
Wait,
to
isn't that
everybody-
like-
Isn't that what? So God doesn't want us to believe in him.
Well, he wants like, true believers. He wants.
Wait, I have a question.
Wait, how would
is
that
it-
make us not a true believer? Because again, you said we can choose.
But isn't
Yeah,
this
no,
the
we
whole
can-
point of? Isn't this the whole point of prophets? God talks. Could you stop that? Can you stop that? Stop fucking with your phone, Mike. So God talks to people, and then He has them try to convince us that He is real, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Right. So
For
the
example,
people that He
Jesus.
personally talked to, are they going to hell since they didn't build their relationship upon faith?
Well, no, it's still built upon faith with them.
Okay, so then
So
it
the
could
people
still be
that
built
saw
upon
him
faith on
resurrected
everyone
from the
else.
dead, that's on faith?
Yeah.
Okay, so then he can resurrect from the dead in front of me, and then that wouldn't be on faith.
What? No, okay. So some people, like for prophets, for example, they had to spread the word. They like Jesus, like he needed to spread the word to the people. and they
Jesus
had
wasn't a prophet.
them.
Jesus,
Yeah.
according to the Bible, Jesus wasn't a prophet.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Oh no, yeah. But that's why he got like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, for example. These people to spread the word for him.
They weren't prophets either.
Well, who was a prophet?
Moses, Isaiah, and other similar
okay.
figures, but Jesus
Well,
and his followers. None
it
of
doesn't
them were
matter
prophets.
what. It doesn't matter if they're prophets or not. What matters is that they spread the word. And yeah, they spread the word. And for example, if Jesus did it to literally everybody, like showed everybody that he is God right in front of them, then they would like obviously just.
That's literally what he
believe
fucking
blindly.
did. That is actually what he did. What happened
So
on
you-
Mount
no,
Sinai
no,
when
I'm
the,
talking about everybody. If you did it with everybody on earth, like you and me, if you just came up to you randomly and just said, "Yeah, you should believe in me," like
What's
no,
the
it
difference
wouldn't
between
do.
Jesus? Well, I have a question. What's the relevant distinction between Jesus speaking to a crowd of over 1,000 people on Mount Sinai, saying he's God, saying they should believe in him, and then producing a miracle in front of them by spawning in fish, right? And Jesus just simply doing that in front of everyone.
Well, that's not everyone. He needed people to spread the word for him. That's the whole point. With like, that's one of the points why Jesus was there.
Okay, so God can give it to us. Why doesn't he let us spread the word?
Now, he already did spread. He already did like show himself to us. It was
So
like
he
a
did
long
it enough.
time
He
ago.
doesn't need to do it for us. He doesn't care.
Yeah, but no, he does care. He cares a lot about
So
you guys.
then why doesn't he convince us?
Well, no, it's not up
God
to him
can
to
convince me
you.
right now by
If you were-
putting a little Jesus in my hand.
No, it's not like that. It has. I said this before. It has to be built upon faith. If let's say for example, if you were a God,
Dude,
Bro,
but he
he's just
literally
not
goes
tracking.
in and he proves
would
people.
you want? No. Would you want like if you were God, for example, would you want people just to like blindly believe you because they just saw like complete evidence and it's not built upon faith?
No, you don't want people to blindly believe you. No.
Exactly. So you agree?
Bro, but actually God would
What?
want this. Wait, God does want
You
this.
said you
God-
have to believe based upon faith, but God doesn't want you to believe based upon faith.
No. I'm saying it has to be on faith. You don't blindly believe.
No,
Just
no,
like you
this
said,
is
you
not
should
true.
know.
This is heretical. This is completely heretical.
Why?
Do you know the common verse, John 3:16?
What is it?
Do you know who Jesus is talking to in John 3?
No.
Yeah, it's going to be a Jewish Pharisee by the name of Nicodemus. So the Pharisees didn't believe that Jesus was God, but then Jesus sought out this Pharisee by the name of Nicodemus and literally told him, "I am God. I am the Messiah." Right?
Yes,
Those who have faith in me
sent out
shall be
Jesus.
saved. And then Nicodemus rejected Jesus. Right? There's still some debate. Some people consider him a secret disciple, but the point is he rejected Jesus. He did not follow him as a disciple.
Yeah. So what was the point?
Right. So that even if God exposes himself to people, right, and proves that he is God, that individuals still choose to believe it or not. And a perfect example of this, the most
Yeah. Some individuals would choose not. But if he were to show himself to most people, they would.
Why can't God just show himself to everyone like he showed himself to Nicodemus?
Man, I said this before. It's based upon faith. The way he did it with Nicodemus, and when Jesus was on earth, that was like the point that was
special.
to
It
save
was
everybody.
special.
No, when God sent down Jesus, it was to spread the word. He had to like teach them all the teachings of the New
So the
Testament.
word doesn't have to be spread anymore?
No, he already did it. Now it's up to us whether we have like enough faith.
Okay,
and,
so
like,
you should
determined
not
to
spread the
believe
word
it.
of God.
Well, no, you should. But
Okay,
God has
so if
already
if the word of God should be spread, then Jesus should reveal himself to all of
No,
us.
because God already made his teachings. Jesus already revealed himself to us. Now it's up to us to like actually study it and see if it's reliable or not.
Yeah, dude. Which then leaves a lot of people coming to the rational conclusion that he doesn't exist because there's no good evidence and they burn
It's
in
not
hell.
rational.
When all he had to do was reveal himself. You're brainwashed, buddy. I'm so
There's not-
sorry.
there's
I
no
know.
solid evidence.
I know. No one else will say it. You're fucking brainwashed. I brainwashed. I just want to put it out there. I've been Christian and then deconstructed it, and then been Christian again and deconstructed it again. Right? And I've deconstructed this shit like 4 or 5 times, bro. Right? Over the course of my life. And I'm just at a point where all the shit that is coming out of your mouth is just absolute fucking wash, dude. It's just meaningless.
Why made you like get out of Christianity? Why?
Because of the inconsistencies. I mean, so why the hell? So God sends Adam and Eve down to earth, right? Apparently they're human, but they somehow still fall into sin, right? They're human and apparently they're perfect. However, they still somehow fall into sin. That's a contradiction, right? And God didn't make evil, but yet somehow the evil serpent got in the garden. That doesn't make sense. And then the generations of humans that came after Adam and Eve, before Moses came down, right? Apparently just all went to hell because they didn't have a Bible to base their beliefs off of, right? And then, right, there's continued tradition of unreliable, fathomable humans passing down the word of God verbally through generations until one person writes it down in a language and then it's translated into another. When all this time, right, God could just simply make the word apparently known to all. And in the same way God tells his moral commandment to the prophets and which are supposed to spread it, why can't God just tell it to each individual human? So we all know the rules that we're supposed to live under. This would, right, make, the crusades unnecessary. This would make religious conflict unnecessary. This would make different societies having different thoughts on what they thought to be the true God unnecessary, as God exposed
Yeah,
himself.
God could have literally like minimized things like the crusade and things like that just by literally saying his word
then
reliably.
We wouldn't really have free will, would we?
How
Did
does that take
Nicodemus
away
have
free will, bro?
It doesn't. It doesn't, because you will still say all of the apostles of Jesus had free will. Nicodemus had free will. All of the people who saw him on Mount Sinai had free will. These people still have free will. They still choose by their faith to believe that he is God, even though he reveals himself right in front of them. It's a completely non sequitur point in which we know to be
Dean,
demonstrably
add up
false.
Wi-Fi gospel.
Gotcha.
Yo, I could lucky help you answer all these questions he said, Dean.
Yo.
What's good, bro? What do you think about Daniel's points, Wi-Fi?
Honestly, I've been kind of listening, but it's rough, Daniel. I'm not gonna lie, brother.
Okay, wait. So, who's
we could do a Discord call one time. I could give you some tips, but it's a little rough right now, brother.
So wait, do you believe in God?
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
Oh, okay. So wait, why would you
say that
guys?
Jesus isn't God at one point?
Would I say what?
Did I hear him say that Jesus wasn't God at one point?
I never said that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't really listening that much. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Wait, Dean, I could help you answer all the inconsistencies you said before. First, starting with Adam and Eve. If he didn't create any evil, why was the serpent there? Well, that was one of his angels that, well, betrayed him.
And then he
That-
punished
that
all the
was-
serpents for the rest of humankind to not have legs and walk and you know and live on their bellies, right, causing unnecessary animal suffering. I thought God was all good.
What you're saying? Well, snakes aren't really like suffering.
I'd say they walk slower, right? It is more potential that they will be seen as prey, which would increase suffering as they die more. Then additionally, right, God caused childbirth to cause a whole lot of pain, right, which impacts every female who gives birth today. Why are all these females paying?
So your wife's childbirth pain is good.
Well,
effectively,
if you can't know what is good without knowing what's bad. That's the thing about this world. There's
That's
bad
crazy
things
that
and
that's
good
his
things.
response to this.
Nobody
Is your
knows.
future wife's childbirth pain
You have
good?
to stop. Yeah, like if you want to follow God, you have to stop asking why
No,
does he
answer
think
the
this, why
question.
does he
Answer
do
the
this?
question. Is your future wife's childbirth pain good?
Well, at the end of the day, it will be good.
Also, I have a question. So Adam and Eve didn't know the difference between good and bad before he ate the apple, right?
He doesn't even realize.
I know. So Adam and Eve didn't know the knowledge of evil before, right? They ate the apple.
Yeah, they didn't have any sin. They didn't know any. Like,
So
about the-
fucking perfect. So not only is God punishing every female alive by causing them to go through childbirth pain, but additionally, they're punishing every female alive for the action of Eve, which Eve didn't know was evil. Eve and Adam did not know that eating from the tree of knowledge
God
was
told them
wrong.
not
Hey, one
to.
second. Adam and Eve eating from the tree of knowledge, they didn't know that was wrong to do because they didn't have the knowledge of evil.
Well, they
And
did
not to
know it was
mention-
wrong.
Yeah, because you're saying God told him not to. Well,
Yes,
let's just
exactly.
imagine this. Let's imagine this. I'm renting an apartment, right? And my landlord told me not to flick this light switch on in the context of the apartment, right?
Mhm.
But then I have a electrician come by on their own will, and they tell me that my landlord was wrong, and I could actually turn that light switch on. So I do, and then my landlord gets really fucking mad at me for doing that. He kicks me out of the apartment, and then my great grandson is renting that same apartment from him, and he punishes my great grandson with unnecessary suffering. Would we say this is a good landlord?
Well, in this example, the landlord would have had to been like the highest person ever on earth because they were with God, the person that created literally everything. It wouldn't just be some random landlord.
Can you answer my question?
What was your question?
I just asked it to you. Hello, brother. So I am renting an apartment from a
No,
landlord.
I remember the analogy you said, but just
Bro,
what was the question? What are you
I
asking?
am renting an apartment from a landlord. There is a light switch in the back of the house.
Yeah, you
and
don't
my
flick
landlord
you don't flick it.
specifically tells me not to flick it on. But then I have an electrician come by, and the electrician comes by and he tells me that the light switch is perfectly fine to flick on, and that my landlord is in the wrong, right? And I don't know that the electrician is lying to me. I trust the electrician, and I turn it on. Right? And then the landlord gets really fucking mad at me and kicks me out. But then my great grandson is renting that same apartment from the landlord, and the landlord punishes the great grandson for my wrongdoing. Is this a good landlord?
So what would the punishment be?
Death.
Like you're saying because Adam and Eve bit the apple, we humans die?
This is not what I say. This is Genesis, which is another good reason not to take it as a literal recount of events. It says the wages for eating the apple is death, right? God said, you shall die the day you eat the apple, right? Of course they didn't die, so I don't know why we'd accept Genesis literally. If you think it's figurative language for him to mention death, well, then I don't see why the serpent wouldn't be figurative or the apple wouldn't be figurative. There's a lot of inconsistencies here.
Well, by death he could have meant just like living in sin.
So yeah, so you're saying that was non-literal, that was figurative, is metaphoric.
Could you say that's even a little bit over dramatic for a light switch? Right. So similarly, how you can make a moral judgment that it was that way, that I could make a moral judgment about your God, that
what would make
literally
your moral
causing
judgment be better than
the
God's?
suffering and pain of childbirth of tens of millions of women, actually billions of women, right, is not justified given Eve's sin. Like what?
And she didn't even know she was sinning. And she didn't even know she was doing anything wrong.
You guys think that do you think that the person you sin against determines the punishment that you get?
The person I sin against.
So for example, this is more a question for Dean and Parker, but so like if I punch you, right? That's one thing. I'm going to get charged for assault. If a cop comes and arrests me for it and I punch them, it's a more serious charge. If I go to court and I hop the bench and punch the judge, that's a more serious charge, right?
Those are just for deterrence purposes.
I have a question. So let's just say
that's different than like what we'd see as justice.
Tracy, thank you for the $5 over Venmo. Let's say you do something wrong that you don't know is wrong, and there was no possible way for you to know that it was wrong, right? Should you be punished?
No, but they did know it was wrong.
Wait, I thought they didn't have the knowledge of good and evil.
They didn't. They might have not, but God told them not to eat from that tree.
Yeah, but they didn't know that going against His commandment was wrong.
Well, they would have known not to eat it because God says not to.
Genesis 3:2 says it.
Wait, but it seems like digressing from God's will, right? They didn't know that that's wrong. They didn't have the knowledge of good and evil.
It doesn't matter if they didn't know it was wrong. Their creator literally told them not to eat from that.
Okay, so you should be punished for doing things that you didn't know it was wrong and had no possibility to know it was wrong.
If God tells you not to do a certain thing and you still do it, then yeah.
I mean, I'd say if Parker told me not to open my blinds.
But he's not God.
And then I have no reason to believe that opening my blinds will cause any wrongdoing. And then I do open my blinds and somehow it causes 10 people to die. I shouldn't be punished for that.
Wait. If the devil claims to be God and deceives Adam and Eve into sinning, well then wouldn't it be the case that you'd have the same justification to follow the devil as follow God?
He didn't claim to be
they
God.
both claim to be God.
He said that the devil claimed that God was lying to them, and that the tree of knowledge will make them just like God. And then they decided to betray God.
I'm just asking you, if the devil portrayed himself as God, right, and said that the other one was lying, right, you would have just as much reason to believe the devil as you would God.
No.
Okay.
Because
So
they
give
have
me the
already,
relevant difference.
they already had experiences with the real God.
Well, how do they know that was the real God?
Well, okay, for example, if you already know someone, let's say you have a friend, you already know them, would you rather trust them or trust this random guy that you just met?
Yeah, so again, we're not talking about me right now. We're talking about Adam and Eve in a state in which they don't understand things. Okay?
Yeah, and I'm giving you an
Remember?
example.
Yeah, but if Adam and Eve are in a state in which they don't understand things, you wouldn't be able to compare it to me and you right now.
What do you
right?
mean? What
Because the
state
way they
were
form conclusions is based upon trust.
What state?
I base it on rationality.
They were not in a state where they don't understand things.
Yeah,
they
they are.
understood that God was God, and they had to listen to.
Comfy, Dean.
Weren't they in a state in which they don't understand things? Because remember, this is prior to the context of the original sin.
No, they understood that they should listen to God, and that's all.
They didn't have knowledge at that point. Okay, well, I feel like you're just denying scripture at this point.
Yeah,
No.
he is.
Well, okay, Wi-Fi gospel. What does it say?
Well, in Genesis 3:2, it kind of shows that Eve knew that eating of the tree. It says, "And the woman said to the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, you shall not eat it, nor shall you touch it, lest you die." So she's explaining that she knows it's wrong and that there's a consequence for it.
No, that she's been told that. Okay, but how does she know the claim of the devil to be any different than the claim of God?
Okay.
Well, that's where the sin came in, because she didn't trust God.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah. What does she have any better reason to trust God than she does to trust the devil?
Yeah, he's God.
Well, again, how does she know?
I mean, he clearly revealed himself as God.
So how did he reveal himself to her, and that didn't cause any issues, but he can't reveal himself to us? Because that does cause issues.
The Bible says that he has revealed himself to each of us such that we can know him for certain.
Okay, so well, then you're just saying I'm acting disingenuously then. Which is so.
No.
So he's actually rejecting
self-deception.
Dean. He just rejected the claim that non-resistant non-believers exist.
Yeah.
No, it's self-deception. It's like, I'm sure you've heard of people who a family member has committed a certain crime and they just can't believe it because they love that family member so much.
So you're saying that it is the case that we're just deceived.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think so. Here's the thing.
So we have best reason to believe.
Smarter than me.
Go ahead.
Like you would say, I would be deceived too for believing in the wrong thing, unless I'm being disingenuous. Those are the two options. I'm either deceived or I'm being disingenuous, right?
Yeah, I mean, if it is the case that you're saying that you're right or wrong, yeah, depending on.
Right, and I would think it's the same with you, and I think that's really the main issue between Christians and atheists is it's not so much an intellectual challenge because there are very smart people on both sides of the issue. I think it's way more of a emotional, or I would call it a spiritual problem.
Yeah, and I think you're delusional for believing that. No offense, but like it is the case that it is the case that like I understand there are smart people on both sides. That doesn't mean that their view is credible, right? I believe they hold the view because they want to feel comfortable, right? I don't believe there's any rational basis for the view. I'm not. No, I'm saying the Christians.
I would say the same thing with atheism.
Do you want to run the problem of perfection?
Yeah,
I have like 10 minutes before I gotta go.
Yeah, I can run it in less than 10 minutes.
But I do always want to. All right, I'll go through it. But I do always, because it's a lot harder to get through these things on these platforms. If either of you would be willing to actually sit through a formal moderated debate, I think we could flesh these things out way better.
I just don't see a reason at this point to set up a formal moderated debate when you're on live with me right now. But like, am I acting in a way in which
opening statement?
Like, do I need to like moderation
an open discussion.
or something? So
No. You're actually very good. I've run into a lot of people who aren't. But the thing is, we set up an opening statement. There's a rebuttal period and a cross-examination period. This is just an open discussion.
Yeah, dude, I'm not gonna
actually flesh these things out.
No offense, bro. I have a lot of stuff I have to do in my life. I don't have time to set up like stuff like that for a debate. Right?
You can do it right
outside
on
the
TikTok.
context of my. Okay, well then, can we just do it like this? Like I just want to have a discussion. Like
We
I
can.
don't care
It's
to
just,
set up
we
like
have 10 minutes. It's an open discussion.
Well, then come on.
Well, when I ran my argument on you, you kind of ran from it, and you wouldn't let me finish.
When did I run from it?
Last time we talked, do you remember?
What did I run from?
You were going back to your axioms and then saying that you didn't have to justify your axioms.
Which ones?
Your properly basic beliefs, such that you exist and that you can have knowledge.
Yeah. So again, what I was saying is that these are necessary for us to come to knowledge, right? So if both views have to hold this to be true in order to reflect this, well, then it's not going to be a greater problem under one model comparative to the other. So for you to bring it up as an
my
issue
presuppositions are justified and yours are not.
Seems to be hypocritical. You're saying they're justified for what reason?
No. I have a
someone has a
transcendental
crazy
argument that justifies it.
Someone's
What's
echo
that?
is crazy. I think Wi-Fi has a pretty crazy echo. Wi-Fi, just try to minimize that echo, then you could unmute yourself.
How's it now?
Better.
Okay, so my presupposition is justified, whereas you're saying you just have axioms, which are by definition
No.
not
Why
justified.
is your axiom justified?
Because of the syllogism. So a syllogism,
What
if,
syllogism?
valid and sound. If Christianity is true, knowledge is possible. Knowledge is possible, therefore Christianity is true.
Why is it the case that if Christianity is true, knowledge is possible?
You still have that echo.
So
bro.
would you say that is?
You have a lot
I
of
don't know.
noise.
I just
So
would
much
say that
noise.
Christianity can't be true. So
He's just running tag. He's just running tag. Tag's kind of shit. I watched Amdir, right, shit on Q-Top on it.
You didn't come on Darth Dawkins when you said you would. This is
Every
what I'm
time I
trying
go
to
on
say.
Darth, every
If
time
we
I go
could
on
have-
Darth Darkin stream, he kicks me.
Yeah, there's
I
actually a
haven't seen you on
stream
there, sorry,
of
but
Dean
I didn't know you went on
debating. There's a stream of Dean debating Darth Hawkins where Darth Hawkins just gets really mad at Dean. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. I kind of shit on him. He didn't know what to say. He kicked me.
I have to go soon here. I'm debating Skits, doing a formal debate with him. That's the best way to do these things. It kind of sounds like you're scared to do it. I'm just saying.
Why is knowledge not possible under the atheist worldview?
It's so frustrating dealing. I'm sorry, but like, dude, I gave you multiple opportunities to just have a conversation with me. I don't need to do some random ass formal discussion on some random ass fucking point when I literally can just have a basic conversation with you on here. I'm not scared by any means. I gave you multiple
it's not
ways to have a conversation with me.
Flesh these arguments out.
How is it not the best way? We're having a legitimate conversation right now in front of people. How is it not?
It's because we haven't set up there's no opening statement to go off of.
You have a conversation with me. What's the issue with having a conversation with me?
Because you have to build the argument. You want me to sit here
build the
for
argument
15
by
minutes
having
and
a
build an
conversation with me. Why do you have to why do you have to have some random ass formal debate, which I told you multiple times?
Why do presidents
I don't have
debate?
time to engage
Why don't they
with.
just have open
I have
discussion?
specific designated times to go live every single day. If you want to have a conversation with me, you can have a conversation with me within these times. Is that not clear? Right? I don't see how it's running for me to have boundaries about when I go on live and when I do debate stuff. I'm not crying. I'm telling you the truth, and you're getting angry at me having boundaries.
Bro, okay,
because
so
it's dumb, right? Well, obviously,
here's
the
a
concerns you're bringing up are
then.
stupid. You're saying that like I'm running away when it's clear that I've established my boundaries of this is when I have debate time. You can come on and debate in these times. I'm obviously not running. I've given you a platform to come speak. I called and I literally told Dean to add you up in the live. I could completely ignore you every single time you join my live. But I choose specifically to give you the ability to speak your mind and speak your voice. Don't act like I'm sitting here and running when you're the only reason you're up here in the first place is because I put you in front of the line of other people to come up on the live to be able to speak your mind. Completely disingenuous.
Right, and then it's funny of you to turn around and say that he's crying when he's just simply telling you how you're incorrect. Me personally, I just think it's absolutely hilarious how you think the fucking Parker owes you a second of his time outside
The Parker's
of
so
the context
cringe,
of his
Dean.
life.
I'm sorry, bro, but
Nah, that shit ain't cringe. Who the fuck do you think you are, right? That you're entitled to Parker's time outside of his life. Like, that's fucking crazy.
I'm not entitled to his time. I just think it's ironic that he can get up here and do these lives and not debate. It's just funny.
He's been trying to debate
I'm
you this
literally
entire
trying to
fucking
debate
time.
you. I gave you the conditions for me debating. You understand that I do this as like a job. This is like, and I have other things I do in my life, right?
Bro, give him
I
the
mean, obviously
perfection
I'm going to have more time when I'm like outside of the context of school, but I'm still doing school, doing full-time this, and I have other obligations in my life, right? I don't have time to set up opening statements for formal debates when I come on here and I do debates every single day for 6 hours a day already.
Bro, he thinks that you don't want to debate him. Give him the perfection
He
argument.
thinks I'm running, dude, when I'm literally trying to present stuff to him and I'm literally adding him up on my live to get heard.
Yeah. Hey,
I'm
buddy.
scared, yet I added him to the live and called for him to come up.
Hey,
Hilarious.
Wi-Fi, how about you stop running and engage with Parker's argument?
Okay. I have 5 minutes.
Oh, it's probably running. I'm sorry. I was being mean.
3 children. I just put down to make sure. My wife's coming home soon. I also have a life. I get it, but
No,
I'm just saying,
there's like
that's
good
the highest
reason
part
to
do
not
these things
engage
here.
in conversation for much longer. Makes sense.
No, I'm
Yeah,
just
and
saying.
again, like I
when
brought
you do
you up
this
right
for
now, I
full
can do
time,
that.
and again, all right, I'm not trying to sit here and being disingenuous. So I'd only have a couple of minutes if you want to run the perfection argument, but I don't think you actually justified any of the preconditions for intelligibility.
Yeah, I've responded to this multiple times, right? I gave you responses to this and you just didn't care about the responses for it. And now you're not acknowledging that you weren't like specifically engaging and that you were acting disingenuously. Like I think that's pretty ironic.
I gave you the syllogism.
But whatever.
That was a justification for knowledge within my worldview.
It's not a justification for knowledge. It's an assumption, right? When you say
No,
that it's a
not. It's a
justification, but then you
transcendental
literally, yeah, that's literally saying it's axiomatic. Okay, do you understand what you're
No, it's
saying
not.
with that? Yes, it is.
Why don't you understand the difference between a presupposition and an axiom? A presupposition is something that can be justified, and an axiom is by definition non-justifiable. This is what Immanuel Kant put forward.
You saying that yours is justified, again, as it relates to this, it depends on how you're using the terms. If you're saying it's justifiable, show me the justification. All I heard was you assuming it.
I did. I gave you the syllogism, which is both valid and sound.
No, you're saying you're just saying it's valid and sound, but you're not actually giving me any reason to hold to that assumption.
Okay. Excuse me.
Saying it's sound is saying it's true, but you're saying it's true without reason. Like,
is it impossible for the God of the universe to reveal himself to us in such a way that we can be certain that he exists, that we can know that he exists?
Is it possible? If your God could exist, yes.
Okay, so
the issue is your God can't exist. So why would we? Why
is it impossible for God to reveal himself to us such that we can know him for certain?
Well, yes, because it's not possible for your God to exist.
How is it impossible?
Because it's not possible for your God to exist.
Explain.
Okay, so it's not possible for a perfect God to create, right? Because it is the case that it would indicate that there is something more desirable than his existence alone, right? If God is perfect, right, he's going to be in the most desirable state of affairs, okay, right? And so if he desires or wants to create, right, go from a state in which he's alone to a state in which there's a creation, right, that wouldn't make any sense, because either if it's perfect, the creation, right, he would be indifferent from the state in which he exists alone to the other state. And if it isn't perfect, if it's imperfect, well, then there'd just be a contradiction, because God can't desire or prefer a state in which is less preferred or less desirable.
Is it desirable for God to show his attributes?
You might argue that it is, but then that would just indicate that there's a more desirable state than God existing alone, which means that God's not perfect.
No, that's not true. It's more desirable for God to show all of his attributes than for any of his attributes.
Than for him to exist alone? Yeah, so that means he's not perfect, because he's not the most preferred state.
How does that mean he's not perfect?
Because he's not the most preferred state.
The most preferred state is the one we're in.
Oh, okay, so not God's existence alone.
So
to clarify, God's not the most preferred state?
Yeah, so God.
This is what it means for God to exist.
More desirable than just God.
No, is God the most preferred state? God existing alone.
We're right here, Romans 9:22. What if God, although choosing to show his wrath,
we don't have to.
make his
We don't
power
have to
known?
reference scripture for this. This is a rational argument.
What do you mean?
The question is very simple. What's more preferable, God plus creation or just God?
What is more preferable?
Yep.
The state in which God has chosen to exist in.
Okay, so God plus creation?
So God plus creation. That means that God's not the most preferred state.
Yes, because his most preferred state is the one in which he can show all of his attributes. Why aren't you
which
allowing
means
for
that him not existing alone. So he's not the most preferred state, so he's not perfect.
Yes, that doesn't mean he's not perfect. It's just the most preferred state in which he assumes to exist.
Wait, what's more preferred than perfection?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Is what do you mean by perfection?
Yeah, What do you mean by perfection? Because what it typically means in the Bible is flawlessness, right? And if there's no flaws, that means that there's no undesirable characteristics, and that this state of affairs should not be different. And if the state of affairs should not be different, how are you going to say that God should create? That's a different state of affairs.
It doesn't follow.
That does follow.
What?
That absolutely.
The fuck?
What doesn't follow with it?
No.
Yeah, what's more preferable than perfection, sir? Wait, 1 second. Can something be more preferable than perfection? Yes or no?
More preferable than perfection. I don't think what you're saying is that it takes away from God's perfection that he created, but it doesn't.
No, dude, you're just not listening, right? Exactly. Is there something more preferred than perfection?
Is there something more preferred than God? No.
He's like he can't answer.
Well,
no, he said no.
Is there anything more preferred?
No, I said no. I just
wait.
There's nothing more preferred than perfection. So God can't prefer creation plus God more than God existing alone, because there's nothing more preferred than perfection.
Yeah, we could just reduce this even further. He said there's nothing more preferable than perfection, and God is perfection. So therefore, God plus showing his attributes is not more preferable than God alone. So this would contradict what you said earlier, bro. Walking contradiction, man.
It's not a contradiction. It's very simple.
Denying reality.
The state in which God's attributes are fully expressed is more preferable in a state in which his attributes are hidden.
Yes, because God's not perfect. Like that would be the conclusion of that. Because it is the case that there would be.
In which way does God change?
So listen. You can't.
In which way does God change pre-creation and now?
I want him to listen, right? If you're saying it's the most preferred state, you cannot say there is a more preferred state than the most preferred state.
Right. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I didn't say that him alone was the most preferred state.
Okay, so he's not perfect.
That doesn't follow.
Okay, so is perfection the most preferred state?
God is perfect, and his perfection does not change because
Is
he created
perfection
something.
the most preferred state?
Yes.
Okay, if perfection is the most preferred state and God is perfect, God is the most preferred state. So when you say that
Yes, in the
God
state in which he
desires
exists
to create,
currently.
you're saying God plus creation is more desirable than God alone.
The
Therefore,
only
there is
reason
something
God
more
desired to
desirable
create-
than the most desirable state. That's a contradiction.
No, I'm saying exactly.
Fucking
It's
crazy.
literally not a
dog.
contradiction.
Dude,
See,
this
this is
argument's
exactly what I
fucking
mean.
crazy,
This
man.
open discussion that you're just over talking and not letting the argument flow. This is
Yeah.
exactly why you won't do a formal debate. This is
Dude,
exactly.
I literally just presented it to you. Can you respond? Right. Dean will be quiet. Dean will mute his
I
mic.
have responded.
Yeah, so I'm doing the
No,
ad-libs.
respond,
I'll be
respond. Let
quiet.
me hear the
I'll go on
response.
All right. So God's state, his perfection, does not change from pre-creation to now. It does not follow that because he has created, his nature has changed.
Okay, listen. I'm not saying the nature changed. I'm saying that he was never perfect in the first place, if it is to say that we are created, because there is a more preferred state than God existing alone. You cannot have a more preferred state than the most preferred state. Do you agree?
Yes.
God is perfect, right? Meaning he's the most preferred state. So there can be no state in which is more preferred than God existing alone. What about that doesn't make sense to you?
I'm telling you exactly why it doesn't make sense. Because his state of perfection has not changed.
Oh, wait, I have a question. Is God
Because of creation.
perfect? Is God
He's just like,
God
he's not
creation
engaging
perfect?
at all, dude.
All right. Well, I was supposed to leave 5 minutes ago, but I just want everybody in chat to know Parker and Dean will refuse to do a formal debate because obviously
Because I just presented the argument to you and you couldn't even comprehend it, right? And I already told you multiple times, I'm not doing a formal debate. You can come on my debates. I do 6 hours every single day. Stop being a fucking little annoying ass and accept the conditions I've established when they're literally present every fucking day of the week. Literally every day of the week, dude. Literally
Yeah,
every day of
bro.
the week. Stop crying, bro.
crazy
Fucking
shit.
snowflake, bro.
He's one of Darth's minions, so of course he's gonna cry. Fucking dunked on. He tried tag too, bro. It couldn't work. I feel bad for him, man. Bruised ass. You got another 15 minutes until your main account is unbanned.
Yep.
I want to get off, but so I'll do like another 15 minutes until we could raid you.
Yeah,
Fuck
for
yeah.
sure, man.
We're going to move on to our next guest, guys. If we are on the guest request, make sure that we do think being non-hetero is wrong, y'all. What's up? Do you think that being non-hetero is wrong or immoral?
I wouldn't say immoral. I would definitely say wrong. Now, let me clarify. I'm not saying that you are less of a human being, that you don't deserve respect, or that you don't deserve, love and all that. But specifically speaking to the point of it being wrong, yes, for the simple fact that it goes against the best interest of the human species, which is what I would think the purpose of any life is to keep that life going, keep that life alive, and keep it.
Is that prescriptive purpose? Like, are you saying like we define this purpose, or like where is it?
Well, let's remove the word purpose.
Who said that's?
So let's remove the word purpose, because purpose is subjective. Let's remove the word purpose, and it goes against the highest interest of the species, which
who
is to
defines
keep the
the highest
species
interest?
alive. One more time.
Who would define the highest interest of the species?
The species itself. Everyone's highest interest is to stay alive.
Okay, yeah, I got it. So I got a question. Do you think that like infertility is wrong?
I wouldn't say infertility is wrong. I would say
Okay, well, and wouldn't it be a contradiction? Because if you're infertile, you can't reproduce either.
No, because you're not choosing to be infertile.
Right,
Wrong implies that wrong and right implies that there was a decision made.
Oh, wait, when did you decide to be straight?
One more time.
When did you choose to be straight? Since like sexual attractions are a choice.
That is a rabbit hole. That's a whole nother conversation that would probably take this debate completely off track. But I definitely
You didn't, because it's not a choice. Have you ever had a crush on someone that didn't like you back?
Yeah, all the time.
Why didn't you just choose to stop having a crush on them?
I 100% did.
Bro, but I thought you just said you had a crush on someone that didn't like you back. If you could choose to stop having a crush on them, you wouldn't have a crush in the first place.
And then I realized they didn't like me back. It made me feel away, and then I decided to not like them anymore.
Okay, yeah. Just for instance, do you think that you could choose to be attracted to a toddler?
I don't. I mean, if you've put intent towards it, I don't see why not. Are you saying that if you didn't put an intent towards liking the other race, you wouldn't be able to obtain that? I'm sorry, the other race, the other.
Did you just say you could choose to be like sexually like aroused like by a baby?
You asked me a question, and I'm saying if you put intent towards it as a human being, where intent goes a long way, I'm pretty sure you could do anything with intent.
Could you choose?
Can I fly like Superman with intent?
So real.
Well, you can do a lot of things with intent. Let's if we're being plausible.
Okay. Could you choose to find a chicken sexually arousing?
Again,
we got to be careful with this. We got to be careful with this, Parker.
No. I just want to know. Could you? Jace, thank you for the $10. I appreciate it. And Yoli, thank you so much for the $4.20.
I absolutely would not want to.
Could you choose to do it though?
If for some weird ass reason I wanted to experiment to see if I could do it,
bro,
I'm
really
certain with intent towards it that it would happen.
Okay, do it. Do it right now.
I'm rock right now.
Cap, bro.
I'm rock.
Please don't.
I'm rock right now. Bricked up all crazy. Next point.
Brother, please. Listen.
Can you tell me that you find the chicken sexually attractive?
Yeah, I want to hear the words come out of your mouth.
I'll slap that chicken on his ass right now.
Bro, dude, please. That's so crazy. That's so fucking crazy. Dude,
No, you gotta say it. Do you find them sexually attractive right now?
I do. I'm feeling this chicken. What's his name? You got his IG?
You say I find the chicken sexually attractive. Say it.
I'm not gonna say it.
I know you can't do it. You can't do it. Yeah, because you don't. I promise you don't. Right. The point I'm making with this whole point here is that you can't choose to find them sexually attractive. Right. It just is the case that you find certain things sexually attractive. So the fact that you took it that far is pretty funny, given the fact that you don't even believe.
Kai, thank you so much for the couch potato.
But Crash, thank you for the $5. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So does it make it any less true that it goes against the highest interest of a species?
Well, actually,
again, so what do you mean by interest? Because then you're just saying against your desires, and I would ask you why does it go against your desires about the species?
Well, he already said that infertility is not wrong. So I mean, we could show like an absurdity.
No. Is it wrong for me to choose to engage in intercourse with a woman who's infertile? Is that wrong?
It goes against the highest interest of the species.
So, it does. So is it wrong for me to give my girlfriend head?
No, it would not be.
But it doesn't produce children. So it's not, in the interests of the highest interest of the species.
So if you put it in context and say, is it wrong to give my girlfriend head? No. Yeah. Is it wrong to spend the rest of your life only giving your girlfriend head and never having intercourse and having no plans to ever reproduce with her? I believe so, yes.
Okay. So if someone who's gay just has gay sex once, that's not wrong?
I wouldn't go so far as to say that if
I forgot.
Can I ask a question
on TikTok?
Oh, you're good. You're good. I'm about to end anyways. Yeah. So let's just say that there's a man that engages in non-heterosexual intercourse. Oh, wait, sorry. That engages in heterosexual intercourse once with a woman and produces offspring, right? Is it okay for that man to spend the rest of his life taking it, right, in like all holes from like men until the day he dies? Right. Like we're talking trains 24/7.
Yeah, because that's a tricky one. it's tricky because producing one singular child for the I mean, it would largely depend on why he chose to make a decision like that. Did you just do it to?
Wait, but I thought the best interests of the species was just simple reproduction, and that's why you thought it was wrong. Now you're talking about intent and choice?
Well, reproduction at a large scale, one child isn't going to keep the species alive.
Okay,
And
so
you know that.
would you condemn all heterosexual couples that have only produced one child?
No, absolutely not.
Okay,
Because
so
like I
then
said,
why would you
it's not
condemn this person?
because it's not as black and white as that. You're trying to simplify it and make it black and white, but it's on a large scale. Reproduction and the survival of a species is not a black and white topic.
Well, I mean, it just seems like you have contradictions here. I don't understand why you'd condemn a non-hetero individual for only having one child.
Yeah, they're going to
But you wouldn't condemn a hetero individual for only having one
I
child.
wouldn't
This seems
say
to be a
I wouldn't say
contradiction.
contradiction is the right word, but for lack of a better word, there are going to be contradictions because we live in a world where nothing is completely absolute. So you're going to have
It just sounds like when you lose a debate, you just introduce gibberish nonsense, very trivial and abstract that doesn't really mean anything. Like
So
that's
why-
just like that's my legitimate thoughts. You're just kind of saying words.
No, that
You
kind of
recognize
sounds
the
like what you guys are doing. Honestly, it sounds
Right
like you
now?
could do. Yeah, you brought up you brought up being aroused by a chicken. So if we're gonna talk about gibberish, let's start right there.
That's not gibberish because I'm demonstrating that you can't choose it.
Right. We're
What's
demonstrating
gibberish
that your
about?
point
What's
is
a gibberish about me demonstrating a concept to you? Just sounds like you didn't understand that.
So have
that
you?
Sounds like,
okay,
that sounds
so-
like a skill issue.
So So let's put it like this: there are people who have claimed to be gay, claim to have been born gay. That
Yeah, and you claim to be straight, dude.
Can I finish my point? There are people who claim to be born gay.
You got to say non-hetero. Just saying.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. There were people who claim to be born non-hetero. And I'm not religious, but these people are religious. They thought of what they were doing as wrong, and made an active decision to start liking the other sex. Can I verify if they are actually?
Those are social pressures, bro. Like,
and was it-
so because internalized homophobia exists due to
You're
social
trying to
pressures,
put a name on it.
saying that non-hetero attraction is wrong, right? You're just going to say that means it's wrong. No, there are plenty of people throughout the context of society that have done similar things as it relates to the context of interracial marriage. But yet that doesn't mean that interracial marriage is wrong. That would be a wild thing to say, that because certain people have gone back on their beliefs as it relates to that, that somehow means it's wrong. Like what?
But also, just to put it out there, like I don't think it's possible to go from non-hetero to hetero or hetero to non-hetero. It doesn't happen. And the reason I
So
find
how
this
do you
to be-
explain the people who claim that happened for them? You can-
I don't think that those are true claims, and my reason to just simply reject them is because we could look at the massive conversion therapies that were huge in the U.S. between the year 1960 and 2010. Right, here are 4 interesting names: John Paul, Alan Chambers, Michael Busey, and Gary Cooper. These 4 men owned the 4 largest conversion therapies in the world in this time span. And you want to know what all 4 of these men did? They all ended up shutting their conversion therapies down, then saying they themselves were never able to be converted and
So you-
still had non-hetero desires, and then went on to write books and make documentaries about the trauma that led them to make their decisions, and apologizing for the trauma in which they
So
perpetuated
I just
their
gave you an
behavior.
example of people who said that the opposite. And you're saying I don't believe that because there are people who said nah.
Bro, dude,
That's
you understand
essentially
that
what your
these
argument is.
people.
Hey Dean,
no,
I'm
these
gonna
are-
let you finish this. I'll be live in like 3 minutes.
Bad, bro.
So you can raid me whenever you'd like to here in a minute. But I appreciate everyone. I'll be on in 3 minutes, everyone.
Bet. I'll raid
Appreciate it,
you.
Dean, bro.
Thanks for coming up, Parker. You understand why I bring up these specific names. These were owners of the largest conversion therapies in the world. Have you heard of Exodus International?
Yeah, but you're not.
Do you know what Exodus International is?
No, I have no idea what Exodus
You don't?
International
Okay.
is.
It is the largest conversion therapy that's ever existed. Its owner, Gary Cooper, was a self-reported ex-non-hetero man. that
And were there
owned and
people that
ran
were
this organization.
successfully? Were there any people that were successfully?
No, we have
transitioned?
absolutely, because it can't be the case. I have a question. Do you think that education, conscious thought, or environment can change the physicalities of our brain, such as the size of the nerves or traits of the hypothalamus?
All right, ask the question again because I believe that absolutely they're trying to say.
Can therapy, right, or conscious decision literally change the physicalities hard coded into your brain?
I want to say, I mean, there are cases, there are definitely cases of some weird anomalies that go on neurologically.
It doesn't
I would want to say no.
It doesn't happen. The closest thing that can get to it is neuroplasticity, where neurons can like die and shit, right? Neurons can shrink, dendrites can shrink, right? But like that's something completely separate. The answer is no, right? Education, therapy, right, or conscious decision can't change your physicalities of the brain. And this is why like heterosexuality and non-heterosexuality.
So are you saying that it is?
Can I finish? Are not a choice.
Because you're making a false claim. Are you trying to say
I haven't even made a claim
homosexuality is
yet.
wired in your brain?
Hey, fuck. I unironically haven't made a claim yet, right? But what we specifically see in the context of individuals who are non-hetero, thank you for the galaxy, they possess parts of their brain that straight people don't have. Like, for instance, non-hetero people have a larger anterior commissure, which is a nerve lining between the hemispheres of your brain, than hetero people. Non-hetero people have different traits of the AI, NH3 subsection of the hypothalamus, such as different dendritic densities, different neuronic substructures, different levels of neurohormones, such as FSH, or they have different, masses of gray,
Absolutely
different
false.
densities of gray mass in the left putamen. Bro, what?
You're going to have to argue that there's a gay gene if you're going to say that you can be born gay and it affects your physiology. You would have to argue that there's a gay gene. Is that what you're
You could
arguing?
argue that there's associations on the genome, such as the XQ23 chromosome.
No, not
that's been proven,
associations. You would have to argue that you can be born gay via a gay gene or gay chromosomes.
And why wouldn't this be present in the context of associations on the genome? Do you even know what
Because
that
there's
is?
no science on this whatsoever. At
Oh,
all.
wait. Yes, there absolutely is. Would you like it?
Please, I would like the science on there being genetically gay chromosomes. You can be born gay via.
Yeah. So, like, we could just look at the NIH. This was published by the Netherlands Institute of Brain Research. Sexual differentiation of the Ben nucleus of the striaterminalis into humans may extend into adulthood. This is DOI 10.1523/J neurosci.22-03-01027.2002. We could also look at the institutions of neurochronology in the context of UCLA. Right, as well as I'll just go through my old screenshots on my phone here and bring up some more specific studies. I just obviously haven't ran this topic in forever because TikTok has had it banned, but I don't mind referencing studies. So like here we go. The difference in hypothalamic structure between like heterosexual and homosexual men. Right, you could obviously look up this comparative study. Right, this would provide a scientific basis for you, as well as I gave you the institutions.
And who is conducting these studies?
The Netherlands Institute for Brain Research, the Center for Neurodoctrine Studies at the University of Pittsburgh in Massachusetts, and the Center for Neurochronology at UCLA.
So I would have to take a look at the studies because there's a bunch of studies that cherry pick data and take wild substratas of data.
They just literally use EEGs, MRIs, and fMRIs and postmortem brain slices to conclude that there's neurological differences in the context of heterosexual and non-heterosexual men. All right, we also see that comparative twin studies would denote that twins have associations in the context of their sexual orientation, even if they're split at birth.
And they would, so you would have to,
right, which would show associations in the context of the genome. We also see associations on the XQ23 chromosome. I've been studying this for about a year now, man.
Now you would also have to argue. You would also have to convince me that those differences are strictly because of their sexuality. It has nothing to do with their age, their race, their.
All that I need to convince you of is that like it's not a choice, right? Because we've given you the evidence, we've demonstrated
that is not
neurological
evidence.
Differences. Wait, okay, yeah, institutions showing differences in the brains of heterosexual and non-heterosexual men, right, is not evidence.
No, again,
right?
you're
people
ignoring,
concluding
you're
this in
ignoring,
the. Wait, well, I'm not ignoring environmental factors. We've already concluded that environmental factors cannot change this shape and size.
I never said that, bro. I said
okay,
you're ignoring.
So then you reject science. So wait, what is neuroplasticity? Can you tell me what neuroplasticity is?
No, bro. What I'm saying is this is exactly why I was saying I would have to take a look at these studies because this is the same thing they do with the pay gap thing, saying that there's a difference in men get paid higher than women, but they completely ignore the data that says this man is working a STEM job. This man works longer hours. You're not considering the other factors in this study.
Wait,
that's what you're doing right now. You're saying.
What are the other factors that could possibly be considered?
Because again, you're saying that these differences in the brain are strictly because of their sexuality. What is the evidence that the differences in the brain has nothing to do with this person's age, their race, their genetic background? Where's the evidence?
What the fuck? First of all, right, you do not have different brain structures dependent upon your race. That is race realism. Hello? You do not have different brain structures dependent upon your age after you reach full development at the age of 25.
After,
Hello?
so yes, you do. So what are these people's ages? What are the ages that we're comparing?
Wait,
you have that information.
Yeah, the ages are all across the board. They range from 20 to 30 to 40 to 50, and also post-mortem brain slices from elderly individuals. So, I mean, the findings are conclusive across the entirety, right, of the cohort of these studies, not to mention that there's no evidence to suggest the contrary. So I just think you're making a ridiculous claim. But on the, you know what the even more ridiculous claim that you're making is that it's specifically like a choice who you're attracted to. I don't know about you, bro. I'm a heterosexual man. I could never choose to be attracted to another man.
And you're also ignoring like I said.
Wait, 1 second. I'm just putting that out there. I will say it again. I am a heterosexual man. I could never, ever, ever choose to be attracted to another man.
And that's
something
great.
that I am incapable of. Are you saying that you are currently capable of choosing to be sexually aroused by men, like right now?
Not me. What I'm saying is the same.
Oh wait, you're not. Wait, you can't choose?
Bro, can I finish the sentence?
No, you just said not me. You can't choose your sexual attractions? Isn't this contrary to what you
personally, I cannot. No.
Wait. If you can't choose, what makes you think other people can?
Because that's exactly what I was about to say. If you were to allow me to say it. Because I just previously told you that there are people, and you can look this up, there are people who have said this. And you're saying your argument was, well, I know people who said otherwise. That was your argument.
Can you name one?
Not by name, but I can give you a video. There's literally a video of a dude that went to church. He said, I'm pretty sure a lot of people in this chat can
went to church. Wouldn't this necessitate that God's real?
No. Listen, there's a lot of hold on.
Are you religious? What's your religion?
No, I'm not at all. Is it right?
Okay, so he went to a room. Nice. He prayed to something that doesn't exist and changed his sexual orientation. So credible, man. So credible. Yeah, there's just no evidence. Like, you're just fucking ignorant, dude. Like, let's just be so fucking for real. But on the broader picture, even if it was a choice, I don't see how this would make it wrong.
No, okay. My bad. I just got to deliver some salmon. Give me a second. It's just busting. But
it's again, like, how about we bring up, like, I mean, we're going to end soon. Is there anyone like, oh, hey, Amber, would you like to come up? 1 second. I would like to see if I could get someone that's much more educated on this than me. Hey, Amber.
Hey, Dean, how are you?
I'm doing good. I thought that you might have some input on this.
No, I think just about everything you said was pretty spot on. We've been studying this stuff. I don't know the person's name. Is it Quasi?
Quasi, pretty close.
Sorry, I didn't mean to mispronounce. My apologies.
That's great. I get it all the time.
So we've been doing studies that have been very, very in-depth since 1998 on the stuff that Dean is talking about. A lot of the data comes from post-mortem studies, and a lot of the data does, in fact, point to the third interstitial nucleus of the anterior hypothalamus. So, what is your question?
Me, I didn't have a question.
I have 35 years of doing this. That's why I'm asking you.
So I didn't necessarily have a question. So do you acknowledge the fact that there are people who claim that they have been sexually oriented one way for most of their lives and decided to orient another way?
No, that's a perception that people get. Here's what really happens. For example, if you're gay and you are told that you're going to be an abomination, you're going to go to hell or whatever it is in a handbasket, what you will do typically is you will go along with what society, what mommy and daddy, what your auntie and uncle, what your pastor, what your priest, whoever says. But at the end of the day, you were born the way you were born, and you're going to revert back eventually. It's just a matter of when. It's not a matter of if. So people trying to convince you that you're something that you're not is a temporary reaction to the greater thing. So
how do you decide that for them? How do you decide what made them?
That's the hard part for a lot of people to swallow. These are all innate processes. Sort of like, how often do you think about breathing in and breathing out? How often do you think about activating the two pacemakers within your heart?
But how would you decide that? How would you make that decision for them as why they made that decision and if it was forced upon them? When
What
there
decision are we talking about? I just got done saying there's no decisions here. What are we talking about?
Well, if you didn't, then you wouldn't have been responding to what I was saying, because I was saying there were people who actively made the decision
No,
to
there
sexually
are people
orientate
that
another way.
there are people that actively make the decision to not be bullied by society. I was one of those people, by the way, and you know it's really tragic when
Now, is that the
people
only reason that
make that
people would?
decision for you, and you really at the end of the day are who you are. You're just hiding it from everybody so you fit into society the way they want you to. That's
How are
the
you
nuts
making
and
that
bolts of it.
decision for a broad group of people? I understand you're speaking from a perspective of I've been there.
Because
but how do you make that decision? How do you
because I wrote a
blanketly make
book
that
on
decision
this.
for a whole
Because I
bunch of
wrote a
people that
book
you
on
never
this.
spoke to or spoke?
All right, I wrote a book on this and did a 13-country tour, and I literally met hundreds of thousands of gay and trans people.
Then also, just out of curiosity, I think what he's saying is, how are you making this decision that everyone, right, can't decide their sexual orientation? Hey, guest, is it fair for me to make the decision that you can't change the color of your eyes? Is it fair for me to make the decision that you can't change the color of your hair?
Well, no, because we have genomes for these things. We don't have a gay genome.
Well, no, we know. I don't know why you're.
I'm sorry, a
bringing genes.
non-hetero genome.
Genes aren't. This isn't where we're coming from. We're coming from in early gestation, moving your way through the second and third trimester of pregnancy, well before you're born. There are things that happen inside of the brain. There are dimorphic things.
Okay, shh. Gay is not one of them.
Yes, it is. In fact,
Bro, what the fuck are dude? Who does this guest think they are? Who the fuck does this guest think they are?
Actually, straight is one of them. Big guy, straight, gay, bi, whatever it is.
There is no straight genome and there is no non-hetero
No, I didn't
genome.
say genome. You're not listening to me.
Then you're
It's
not responding to me, 'cause
It's
that's what
not
I'm
a
saying.
gene. It's not part of your genome that we found, right? What we have found is that when you go through, do you know the two critical time periods of sexual dimorphism in the fetal development period of development? Do you know what they are?
No, please explain.
So in the first trimester, that's when your genitalia and your reproductive tract forms. All right, are we okay with that? Do you understand what sexual dimorphism is?
I do. Continue.
All right, so that would be the first trimester, and that's the first critical period of it, where you have equipotential of developing male or female. By the way, the deterministic factor is not what you think, like XX or XY. Did you know that? I bet you didn't.
So,
Do
elaborate.
you think chromosomes are deterministic as to whether you're going to be a boy or a girl?
I have no
Male or a
idea.
female? Yeah, they're not. So there you have chromosomes. For example, most males typically, I use the word typically, are XY. Most females are XX. However, there are people with XY chromosomes that are actually female, and they have a complete phenotype of being female. They can actually receive in vitro fertilization and carry and vaginally give birth to that baby. It's called Swyer syndrome. Okay, so it's also called.
You're talking about like
there's
0.1% of a population.
Here, I'll just go let you finish, Amber. Then I'm gonna kick him. All right, I gotta raid Parker here. He just started his stream.
Very quickly, when we're talking about parts of the population, putting a number in front of it kind of invalidates a hell of a lot of people, in the order of millions when you start putting numbers on them. So I would dare you not to do that. And just look at people as people, and variation is a bigger number than you can possibly count to when it comes to variation.
Well,
I'll
Amber,
leave it there.
I appreciate you for coming up. I'm sorry that this guest is so fucking dense and
Yeah, he's not
idiotic.
gonna get it. So
Yeah,
he's not gonna get it. Yeah, he's embryonic. All right, we'll see you later.
I see you, Amber. Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Huge W Amber in that chat. I've spoken with Amber so many times before, and they're honestly one of the predominant sources where I've got my education on the neurology of sexual orientations and gender identity over the course of the last year and a half. Amber is incredibly smart, guys. Go ahead and unmute that mic, Pookie. Sweetheart, are you there?
What's up, baby boy?
I kind of appreciate that. So, don't call me that shit. Fuck you. All right.
Oh, was it that little non-hetero hatred there? What was that about?
No, it's just about using like terms of endearment as to like belittle my value, right? See, I could use them against you because you literally have less value than me due to the fact that you don't accept reality as it is, and the
Oh, my
context
fault,
that
baby
you
boy.
reject education in the sense that you just perpetuate hate, prejudice, and marginalization against, right, a very large group of people on the basis of like literally nothing. But anyways, that's just me
Aw.
being petty. But anyways, appreciate you for coming up. I'm gonna go to move on to the next guest. We're gonna go to Raid Parker, ladies and gentlemen, for everyone hanging out with us, y'all. Everyone go to @Parker, get a job on TikTok, spam Dean Raid in that comment section, ladies and gentlemen. Spam Dean Raid. I want this man, right? I want all 1.8 thousand of y'all to go raid @Parker, get a job on TikTok, literally right